Mar-a-Lago was raided? What? What? News Trump in statement says Mar-a-Lago's under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Wait, what? No way. What is happening? Oh, dude. Okay. I gotta run it again. I'm sorry. Okay, we have to do that. We have to. Where's the fucking Dark Branded meme? God damn it. Clean is also that OP guy where any haircut and facial hair looks good on him no matter what. Yeah, he's a very good looking man. Here it is. I'm sorry. What's up? What did you just say that? It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. These are dark times for our nation. As my beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, is currently under siege, raided, and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Dark Brandon is coming after me and all of my cronies. That's right.
Who voted for President Trump? There's no way out. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with.
Nothing like this has ever happened to a president of the United States before. After working and cooperating with the relevant government agencies, this unannounced raid on my home was not necessary or appropriate. It is prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponization of the justice system, and an attack by radical left Democrats who desperately don't want me to run for president in 2024, especially based on recent polls, which, by the way, he's been getting hammered in the polls. DeSantis is doing better than him, and he's really bent about that, which is why he keeps talking about the polls.
It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop, ever, until you are dead.
Such an assault could only take place in a broken third world country. Sadly, America has now become one of those countries, corrupt at a level not seen before. They even broke into my safe. What is the difference between this and Watergate, where operatives broke into the Democratic National Committee? Here, in reverse, Democrats broke into the home of the 45th President of the United States. That's awesome. Yeah, Yusuf Al-Bidan. The holy light of Allah is blinding me. If only I had been a true believer. Isn't it wonderful when Donald Trump 3 days ago said, like, we should use the law enforcement authorities to, like, mass execute drug dealers, okay, with a swift trial or no trial at all. We should bring back stop and frisk. And then, like, the moment that the law enforcement community comes after him, he's like, I'm a prison abolitionist. No-knock raids without warrants are being conducted on my home. Unbelievable. Defund the police. Damn, he wrote a lot, dude. He wrote like whole pages. I don't want to read all this. I can't read all this, but it is pretty funny. I do love this. Okay. Have you covered Trump flushing White House documents yet? Trump tried to flush documents down White House toilet. New photos shown. Wait, what? Where are the photos? What? New in Axios. Trump denied flushing documents as president, as I learned during reporting last year for Confidence Man. A Trump White House source recently provided photos of paper with Trump's handwriting in two different toilets. I don't understand. Like, was it even relevant shit? Was it even important shit? On the left is a White House toilet, the word qualified and a capital I visible. On the left, a toilet from the Trump trip overseas. Under the Presidential Records Act, documents generated by and sent the presidents are to be preserved by the office. Trump's habit of ripping paper that had to be taped back up was known. His habit of discarding them was not. I don't know what else to say about this story other than just like, Hasan shirtless. Look at that, folks. That's what I wrote. I was looking up. I thought I was Googling it. I wrote Hasan shirtless photos on a piece of paper, and I thought maybe I could find more. Big news. Yeah, we just covered it. I'm still covering the story. Why are you guys coming in here? Dude, it's awesome though. Your accent is actually incredible. People are coming in. It just broke. You went up 2K. Wait, I did? I don't think I did. CNN is doing a whole breaking news story on this and pretending they know what's going on. Okay, love that. Let's take a look. I do think it's funny.
Victims.
Why are they? I mean, it
And
is a big
texts
deal.
In that case, were damning.
That is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
Well, they're talking to the A. Jones.
Text messages related to January 6th could also be very damaging to Jones, as those were, because Jones was a core and huge promoter of Trump's election lies leading up to January 6th. Here is just some of what he said before January 6th.
It's Saturday, December 19th. The year is 2020. And one of the most historic events in American history has just taken place. President Trump, in the early morning hours today, tweeted that he wants the American people to march on Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021. He is now calling on we the people to take action and to show our numbers. The time for games is over. The time for action is now. Where were you when history called? Where were you when you and your children's future was on the line?
You don't really need a text message to know his involvement, like he
Trump's
said.
former spokesperson, Katrina Pearson, who helped organize the rally on January 6th, she even warned Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, about what she was hearing from Alex Jones.
But she never warned everybody that the top of the hour ad break was here, and if you wanted an uninterrupted ad-free broadcasting experience, that all you needed to do was subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime,
of the rhetoric that they were doing,
or by getting gifted a sub.
And Jones' words and actions on the night before January 6th
That's right.
to
It's
Trump
kind of fucked
supporters
up
in
that they never mentioned that, even though that is what is happening right now. The top of the hour ad break is upon us. Okay, here's the 1 minute ad break now. Get ready to avoid it. Boom, blammo, roasted, toasted.
6th. Hours later on Insurrection Day, Jones was on U.S. Capitol grounds.
Trump is going to speak over here. Trump is going to
dude.
be on the other side.
Jones was there. Jones mattered. But he has never testified to exactly what he knows. Because when he met with the January 6th Select Committee earlier this year, he was anything but cooperative.
I just had a very intense experience being interrogated by the January 6th committee lawyers. They were polite, but they were
Okay, we need local news coverage on
dogged.
Trump being
But I
investigated
said
by
this,
the
my lawyer told me
FBI.
almost 100 times today during the
Rated.
interrogation. On advice of counsel, I am asserting my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent.
Almost 100 times asserting his Fifth Amendment rights. That's what he says. Well, we sure know how the former President Trump feels about people who plead the Fifth.
The mob takes the Fifth.
Yeah. We know. Trump is the mob.
They have been doing it in the way that builds trust. And I don't think it's helpful for members of Congress to politicize it, because ultimately what we want is an independent Justice Department that is not acting in a political motive. That's why President Biden appointed Attorney General Garland. Many people are saying, oh, he's too slow or he's not doing anything. I think what he has shown is integrity. And that's why whatever he does, the Justice Department is going to have the confidence of the American public.
So, Representative Connor, I always push back slightly on this because it is a political investigation, and that's not inherently bad. And I say this because it was an attempt at a political insurrection, right? Like, you can't say it's non-political when the former president was trying to use politics to sort of overrule the sort of will of the people. But my question for you also is, now that you've seen this, do you think this will have an impact on impending votes in Congress? Do you think that this will make your Republican colleagues more likely to go along with what seem to be policy initiatives by the Biden administration the American public wants? Do you think this will make them more likely to separate themselves from President Trump? Or do you think that they'll basically double down and say, well, the FBI is after him, so now it's our opportunity. We have to sort of circle the wagons as we have before. What do you think the impact of this FBI raid will have on your body working forward?
Well, you know, for almost 6 years, every time I thought that the Republicans would finally speak up against Donald Trump, they have unfortunately let me down. So I don't know whether this will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But if anything, it should hopefully get enough Republicans in the Senate and a few in the House to vote for the Electoral Count Act, Reform Act, which will make sure that whoever wins the popular vote in states in 2024 actually gets the slate's delegates, because otherwise you're going to have a situation where someone can try to steal the election again. And hopefully, at the very least, the January 6th Commission and all of these findings by the Justice Department.
Folks, I Show Speed and Donald Trump get raided on the same day.
Optimistic can.
Coincidence? That radical Democrats are trying to take down a popular content creator by the name of I Show Speed for his MAGA support. Believe me. Dark Brandon is coming after me and I Show Speed together.
Passing this bill, not just in the House, but in the Senate, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who gets indicted. It doesn't matter who gets arrested. It doesn't matter who ends up in Oz if the vote still can't be protected in November.
Absolutely, I do. And I think people are looking at this and regretting probably the impeachment vote in the Senate. And I think after that, some people thought Donald Trump would just go away. He obviously hasn't. Now you have a Justice Department ongoing investigation into conduct, at the very least, of people very close to him. And we don't know whether it will implicate the president or not, but they are certainly looking at evidence that the president has, former president has. And so my view is this is the time where we need to at least have the Electoral Count Act passed. And I am encouraged that there are Republicans in the Senate who support that. All that the act says is that there needs to be judicial review before a state legislature can overturn the popular vote in that state. And I fear if we don't do that, that you could have a repeat of the efforts in 2020 and 2024. And that would be malpractice for our Congress not to prevent someone from stealing the election in 2024.
Thank you, Congressman Ro Khanna, for starting us off with this breaking news today. Thank you so much. Joining me now is Barbara McQuade, former U.S. attorney, MSNBC legal analyst, and professor at the University of Michigan School of Law. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Barbara. First, what is your immediate reaction to this unannounced FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago, the home of the twice impeached former president and insurrectionist leader Donald Trump?
Absolutely stunning. I'm absolutely stunned. I'm stunned that it's happening so quickly, and I'm stunned that it's happening at all. Searching the premises of the president's residence is absolutely unprecedented. But keep in mind, this could only happen if a judge found probable cause to believe that evidence of a crime will be found there. So really stunning development.
So, Barbara, take us through that process. Look, my knowledge of the law pretty much begins and ends with Law and Order, occasionally some CSI. So is it a matter of the Department of Justice, they just find a local judge? Do they have to find a federal judge? Do they also have to get approval from local police? Is it the FBI comes in and commandeers everything? What is the process that the federal investigators had to go through in order to initiate this unannounced raid?
Well, first, to get a warrant, usually you have to have developed probable cause, which
we already read the Trump
months
statement.
and months of investigation. That builds a record. Then a federal agent swears out an affidavit in great detail. It may be 10, 20 pages long, detailing all of the evidence thus far in the investigation that they believe supports probable cause to search the premises. That is, that there will be evidence of a specific crime found there, not just any old crime, but crimes they've been investigating for which they believe they have probable cause. They then have to take that to a judge in the district where the property is located. So that would be the Southern District of Florida. In a case of this magnitude, the approvals will go all the way to the Attorney General himself. This would not happen without his absolute approval. Once that warrant is secured, then the FBI would assemble a team, and they usually do bring with them some local police officers who know the lay of the land, who can go up and help with a knock and announce, explain why they're there, and then the teams begin their search, and they can search any place on the premises where the items they're looking for might be found. In this case, my guess is it's documents and maybe electronic storage devices like cell phones, iPads, and the like. And so that really allows them to look just about anywhere where you might be able to find a document. And people often are shocked at the number of agents that show up for a search like this, but they usually go into rooms in pairs so that they can develop a chain of custody if that evidence ever has to be used in a trial. In a premises the size of Mar-a-Lago, I am guessing it's dozens and dozens of agents going in, unless there's one very specific things they want to seize, like a box of classified documents that didn't get turned over, and they're looking for specific items. My guess is it's dozens and dozens of agents participating in this search.
Now, this is one thing that occurs to me. We've seen evidence. People have talked about it in books. People have talked about it in the previous administration, that Donald Trump would tear things up, flush documents down the toilet, have them cut up. What do you think, given that he had a tendency to try to burn bag things while they were happening, what do you think, if you had to speculate, what do you think they're going to actually find at Mar-a-Lago? Would Trump and his cronies be dumb enough to take FedEx boxes worth of indictable materials and drag them to his house?
Yes. I hope.
We used to say in my former office, we don't catch the smart ones. People do all kinds of things because they are either too foolish to understand the consequences or too arrogant to believe anybody will ever
the
look
fact
for
that
them.
they opened the safe implies that they had the fattest of fucking warrants, okay?
You can't issue a warrant.
Like, you can't just literally open up a safe even during a regular, regular raid.
Items will will be found.
It means that they knew that there was material inside of that safe, or at least had reasonable suspicion for important evidence to be trapped inside of that fucking safe that a federal judge allowed them to go through. If that is, of course, if Donald Trump is saying what Donald Trump is saying is correct.
But we know this. It is somebody who is close to former President Trump, and we know that a judge has found probable cause that a specific crime it has been committed or is being committed, and that evidence of that crime exists on the premises at Mar-a-Lago.
Not just on the premises, remember, inside of his safe, okay? That's actually huge.
That there are classified documents in the possession of the former president in his home. Who could potentially be at risk for being arrested? I assume at that point they'd have to figure out, well, okay, who brought this box here? But at the end of the day, is that alone something that could lead to an arrest? If they say, look, somebody's got to tell us how this box got into this building, could that lead to an arrest of the president?
I think Dark Brandon as a meme was dead. And then this happened, and now the meme is alive, but also now it's unironic.
Finding classified documents would alarm government officials for two reasons. One is the potential crimes that you suggested, possessing classified materials outside of their proper receptacle. The other is who else may have had access to it. So it's sometimes referred to as a spill, even if it's just an unintentional possession of a classified document outside of where it's supposed to be stored, because you don't know who may have seen it. And documents are classified because they protect methods, means, sources that are the nation's secrets. And so if those secrets are out and they get into the hands of foreign adversaries, that could be very dangerous to certain people who are serving as sources. So that's one area of great concern. The other is potential criminal liability. And so if someone inadvertently brought boxes of documents thinking it was, framed pictures with Vladimir Putin or something, that is unlikely to result in criminal charges. There are some charges for negligent handling of classified information, but as we saw in the case of Hillary Clinton, we've never seen somebody charged unless there's a willful violation. And so, taking this material either to harm the United States or to help a foreign adversary. And so you'd have to show that level of willful intent before somebody could be charged criminally.
Do we know, and this is a general sort of informational question, we know Mar-a-Lago is the home of the former president. Do we know who else actually lives there? Do we know what kind of people are there in and out on a regular basis? I alluded to the fact that we don't know if the former first lady is actually there, but do we know if he has staffers, former staffers that live with him? Do we know, is it just sort of a big, empty Wayne Manor where it's just him sitting across from a big table by himself every night? How do we actually know who's there and who could possibly be implicated if something is found in that home?
Yeah, again, without knowing what this search is for, it's hard to know. But one of the things that the agents would need to do is to conduct investigation to figure that out. Who has access to that property? Who is coming and going? Because they can only search the property of that is authorized in that search warrant. So if it's a place, a resort where guests come and go, or you have people working or other people living, you have to make sure that you're only searching the premises that are covered by that warrant. So that would be some legwork that the agents would have done in anticipation of this warrant.
Going forward, we now have this.
No! What? This is a pretty fucking big deal. Yes, dude. Are you insane?
Executed, why it was carried out, and of course, what these agents.
Yes, chatter. When the former president is under federal investigation for his personal involvement in the insurrection attempt, the failed insurrection attempt of January 6th, and then the FBI raids his home, yes, that is a pretty big fucking deal. I mean, even if it's nothing, even if it's a nothing burger, which it isn't, it is a big deal. It's fucking awesome content because, I mean, goddamn, that's great. Like, that doesn't happen ever.
Laura, what do you read into this? We don't know exactly the reason. We don't know what probable crime was established to a level that a federal judge said to go ahead and execute this search warrant. But we do know that all those things were present. And here we are with a search warrant and a large number of FBI agents today raiding Mar-a-Lago.
I know it is. It is kind of stunning. FBI agents raiding the home of a former president who was not there, by the way, as Caitlin was saying. And we also know, if you go back to April, we were reporting, and others were reporting,
I gotta pee, I'll be back,
that the Justice Department began investigating the handling of these 15 boxes of White House records, including classified information that had been taken to Mar-a-Lago. I do not know whether this has anything to do with that, or whether those documents that they got led them to decide, well, maybe there's more there than we received.
I gotta pee, I'll be back.
I mean, I'm just speculating here, and let me make that clear. But I do think that it is an extraordinary step for them to do this. So there must be something they are looking for. And Ellie can talk about that more than I can, but it seems to me to get a judge to say you can do this on the home of a former president, it has to be pretty striking.
So, Ellie, let me ask here, because a lot of people watching this, and obviously as part of, we led the program, we were talking about the text messages that the January 6th committee had just obtained from Alex Jones, right? So when you talk about, in the context we're in, an FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago, a lot of people are going to jump to the DOJ investigation into January 6th. But I want to be clear, Ellie, we don't know that these things are related or not, right? Mm-hmm. Could it be something specifically related, as Gloria is indicating, to those 15 boxes of classified documents that were not supposed to be removed from the National Archives, were supposed to be sent there, that went to Mar-a-Lago? Could it be as simple as the crime is removing those documents? Is it possible?
Yeah, it could be, Aaron. It could really be any federal crime under the sun. When you fill out these affidavits that you bring to a federal judge to get a search warrant, you have to name a crime. You give the section number, and you have to say, here's our evidence. That could be information, as Stephanie was alluding to, as possibility from a source, from an informant. It could be information that you got from text. It could be any kind of information at all. But you do have to say what specific crime you are investigating. Now, those papers typically don't come out until much later in the process. If they do come out, the first thing I would look for is, well, what crime did they say? That will give us a big indication. Right. But yes, unauthorized destruction of classified materials is a federal crime. There are several potential federal crimes relating to January 6th. So it really could be any federal crime. But one other point, Aaron, that I think is important to understand. People may be wondering, well, when do you execute a search warrant as opposed to send someone a subpoena, right? And the answer as a federal prosecutor is, if you don't believe that the person's going to faithfully comply with the subpoena, if you don't trust the person to fully turn over the documents,
we know he wasn't there. Chat, we know they just mentioned it.
Concern here, but a search warrant tells
we know
me
he wasn't
that
there.
DOJ and the FBI did not have faith that Donald Trump, or whoever the subject of this search warrant would be down at Mar-a-Lago, would simply say, sure, thanks for the subpoena, here's all the documents requested. That they were able to establish that they had some concern that they might not be given all the evidence that they're entitled to.
And it had to be a pretty...
And again, go ahead, Gloria.
It had to be a pretty intensive...
I'm not going to lie. This is the most excited I've been since Trump got COVID. Like, literally, just...
So the question is, and again, we don't know the answer. He says they went into his safe. Since he's not at Mar-a-Lago, somebody had to report that to him. And did they do it specifically because they knew he wasn't at Mar-a-Lago? And if it was this intensive, and it seems to me that maybe it was broad. It's just very hard to know. So all we can do is speculate here.
Right. So let me ask you, Stephanie, and I want to get Ellie to weigh in on this as well. But as we try to understand, obviously this is hugely significant, whatever it is related to, whether it be related to January 6th, whether it related to documents that were wrongly removed from Washington or something else. But then in that, Stephanie, what stands out is the safe, which the former president himself is the one who told us about, right? He's saying someone broke into his safe. So that would imply they're not just checking for a bunch of boxes. So can you, Stephanie, help us understand a little bit more why something like that would have stood out to him, or why a safe in particular would have been a place where he kept things?
So again, this is going to be me just speculating and going off of my years of time with him. I will tell you, though, the fact that he mentioned the safe in the statement stood out to me immediately because he likes to get ahead of things. That's something he used to tell me all the time. You just get ahead of it and then it'll be okay. I think that there's something in there that he didn't want anybody to see. Now, it could be anything. It could be stuff he doesn't want his wife to see. It could be anything. Again, we're speculating, as the whole panel has talked about. But the fact that they made their way to the safe, I don't know if it's the office safe, I don't know if it's their apartment safe, but the fact that he mentioned it, it really, it struck me, and I think that he's nervous.
So, Ellie, what do you make of that? Because again,
we need
one of the
photos,
things you first
man.
mentioned, and I remember this, right, when Michael Cohen
we need to see
had
photos.
his FBI, they showed up at his door,
I need
right?
photos
they want the
of the fucking
electronic devices,
FBI
they want
going
the
all
computers,
up
they
and
want the cell
down.
phones. Okay, that's fine. One thing we know about the former president, right, is that he's not somebody who's putting things in email and on a computer and a laptop, right? That's not where you're going to find some treasure trove in his particular case. So, Ellie, it's not as if there's, well, I mean, who knows, right? But some secret cell phone hidden in the safe. While it could be, what stands out to you about the word safe and why he is, as Stephanie said, clearly trying to get ahead of that specifically?
Well, Aaron, it is very common for search warrants to seek access to documents or records, whether they're paper documents or electronic documents. And the rule basically is, for the most part, when you execute a search warrant, you have the right to go into any area where those items could be stored. If we're talking about paper documents, or even if there was a cell phone or a laptop, that would certainly be something that you could find in a safe. Just to make a contrary example, sometimes, for example, if you have a stolen car case, you'll say, we're looking for this stolen car in a garage. You can't go look in a safe because there's not going to be a stolen car in a safe. However, if you're looking for documents, again, whether they're printed paper documents or electronics or cell phones, then you can look in a safe. It's quite common in cases when you are looking for documents that you get access into locked closets, safes, that kind of thing. So that's fairly common. Again, we don't know the specifics here, but it is often the case that FBI agents are looking for documents. The other thing that I think is important.
Yeah, I mean, that's important. Ben Protos and me, the search related to the 15 boxes of material Trump took to Mar-a-Lago last year per 3 sources. God, liberals are so deranged, but this is so funny. Like, liberals are so incredibly deranged. FBI searches Trump's home. Oh, come, dude, what the fuck? Look at this, bro. This should be illegal, unironically. Like, y'all are fucking crazy for paywalling this shit. Jesus Christ. Let's hear what else is going on here, and then I'll go into reading that article.
Caitlin Collins, I know you've been trying to reach out to the Department of Justice to get more information about what caused this, what prompted it. What are they telling you?
Yeah,
no,
they
this
told
is
my
from
colleague
2019,
they
man.
are not going to be commenting. So
This
no
is an
comment
old
from the
story,
Justice
chatter.
Department, no comment from the White House either. But Aaron, I will tell you what we do know as we await confirmation over what this search warrant was over is that there are 2 investigations related to Trump that are happening right now. One is the mishandling of classified information. That is the one that could potentially deal with documents that Trump, after he left office, took with him to Mar-a-Lago. And the other one is into the January 6th insurrection. That is what 2 things that we know are happening. We know some of his former aides have been interviewed regarding to that one. But when it comes to the documents, I will note that we did report earlier this year that investigators had issued a subpoena to the National Archives because they wanted access to more information about what exactly documents were taken to Mar-a-Lago, how they were handled while they were there, what they found, of course, when they requested the return of those documents. And so that is something that is helpful context, I think, when you're looking at this and you're wondering why
I'm going to tune over to Fox News and do some HOGWATCH on this in a little bit. At the former president's home in Florida. And I will say that at that time, when we noted about that subpoena to the National Archives, we were told by the former president's current staff that they maintained he had handled all documents properly. Clearly, there is some disagreement over that has prompted this investigation that is happening into how those documents were handled. And so that is remarkable in and of itself as we're waiting to see confirmation of this. Again, Trump was not actually at Mar-a-Lago when this raid was carried out. He's instead at Trump Tower in New York. He's often spending his summers in the Northeast. And I will note in his statement, Aaron, he's very critical of Democrats. He says Democrats desperately don't want him to run for president in 2024. He is indicating that he believes this is politically motivated. I will note, he says it was a large number of FBI agents that were at Mar-a-Lago today. He did pick the current FBI director, Chris Wray. It's a decision he said many times that he regrets, but it is an FBI director that was handpicked by Trump and put into that position.
All right, Gloria, I want to ask you about
fake
something
friends
else
all
that
around
you
me.
said you stood out to you about the former president's statement, and that was that they spent a significant amount of time there today. What more from what he's saying in what you've described as a long statement, putting out, trying to get ahead of this? What more stands out to you?
Look, I think that, as Ellie was saying, they don't have to say we're specifically looking for this document that was potentially not handed over to the archives. They can be as broad as they want. And I think that's what probably happened today and got the former president so incensed to release this, this large statement. I mean, if this is about the handling of those 15 boxes of documents that went to Mar-a-Lago, the Justice Department started investigating in April, and there was a subpoena that was part of the formal process to the archives to kind of get by the FBI to get a handle on what was in those documents, as Caitlin was saying. So maybe there was a discovery that there was something missing that needed to be there, or they raised other questions about why wasn't this included in the box, or maybe there's more at Mar-a-Lago that we didn't get that we should know about.
I need more, though.
So,
I need more. I need more.
Again,
I need
we
more.
don't know specifically what this raid was about, but it seems to me that when you connect it to Mar-a-Lago, what do we know about Mar-a-Lago? Well, there were these documents, including classified documents, that are potentially have been mishandled. And so it makes sense that the FBI would be looking at that.
Ellie, do you believe that we will find out what the crime was for, that they established probable cause from a judge, so we'll be able to understand whether this was related to the documents or January 6th or something else?
So the actual affidavit itself, Aaron, that prosecutors fill out.
All right, we're moving on. We're going to look at what the fucking Hogalinas are saying. Red Line Politics says this could lead to a civil war. Who cares? Washed. Jesse Waters responds to the Mar-a-Lago FBI raid. Take a look at what he had to say about it. This is breaking news on the Fox News side. Let's take a look. Oh, my God.
We were told that the FBI wasn't going to get involved in any politically charged search warrants, investigations, announcements, indictments before an election. We were told that. I mean, remember what they did with the crooked situation with the server. They made all sorts of announcements then. They investigated the Trump campaign then. You saw what they did in October by covering up the laptop. And now they're gonna send agents into Mar-a-Lago before the midterm election. This is not what we were told the FBI was going to do, especially, Dana, on the heels of what we just did at the top of the show, when we just laid out how
so fucked up of the FBI to, go through and conduct a criminal investigation into our president, into our big, beautiful president. It's so fucked up. They're not supposed to do that to us. That's not supposed to happen. They gave us assurances that was not supposed to happen. That's fucked up.
How Paul Pelosi Sr. Suspiciously involved in insider trading with the wife Nancy.
This is why you got raided, motherfucker. W. Trump L. Biden says Aiden Ross. Yeah, you. Yeah, that's why they raided you earlier this morning alongside Mar-a-Lago, baby. What does Aiden Ross know about the files hidden in a safe inside of Mar-a-Lago?
And then she takes her son to this Asian trip, tries to hide it while he's got lithium investments. He's got EV battery investments all over these Asian countries.
I forgot to mention that. Nancy Pelosi's husband had a bunch of investments in China, and now the Chinese government is seizing them, by the way. So that's pretty funny. I forgot to gloat about that. Yeah, the Chinese government is seizing all of Nancy Pelosi's husband's investments in China.
They're trying to cover it up. And,
this is a good
nothing
day.
gets done with Hunter. Yeah. They're trying to push that off, make it a little tax thing, make that go away. Meanwhile, we have evidence that they were holding 10 for the big guy. Diamonds are being exchanged. There's like 150 flags from Treasury that there were suspicious wire transfers coming from all these countries, China, Russia, Ukraine, into the Biden family bank accounts that were all cold.
He's losing his mind. He's like, why aren't they doing this to Biden?
Mingled, and you're sending agents to Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. Did they get the address wrong, Dana?
Yeah, exactly. I'm amazed that because there's more evidence to implicate, I think, the Bidens than ever has been, than actually nothing has been there for the Trumps. Everything they've accused that family of, the former first family of, it seems like it's the Bidens that have done it. And to say nothing, you just talked about Paul Pelosi or Nancy Pelosi's son, his involvement in some of this green energy stuff. I mean, I know that there's an investigation currently ongoing with, the Russian collusion stuff with Hunter Biden and his involvement, his investment firm, and what part it played, not only in some Chinese acquisitions, but also what about Hunter Biden's business dealings with the Democratic Republic of Congo in acquiring for China a huge cobalt mine that's going to be instrumental with rare earth elements in EVs? That's a whole other subject. How much does this family stand to make from the Green New Deal? We should be talking about these issues instead of trying to settle the score of somebody like Hillary Clinton and Democrats who are still enraged.
Hillary Clinton? What the fuck does Hillary have to do with this? They're saying Dark Brandon couldn't have done this on his own. It must have been Hill Dog controlling the strings. The White House did not get a heads up, by the way. The White House did not get a heads up. That's awesome.
Trying to subvert that. The people who lecture us all the time, Democrats, about democracy, don't actually believe.
Wait, what the fuck? This dude literally looks like the ginger version of the guy from The Office and also from Severance. What the fuck's his name? They found the most Ed Sheeran ass motherfucker to bring on. Adam Scott? No, not BJ Novak. Adam Scott? Is that his name? That's crazy. They found Ginger Adam Scott to come on. Anyway, speaking of Dark Brandon, for the record, the White House did not get a heads up that the FBI was executing a search warrant at Mar-a-Lago. White House official says, we did not have notice of the reported action and would refer you to the Justice Department for any additional information, the office tells me. And the Department of Justice is declining to comment. Love that. For the Fox News viewers, the director of the FBI who approved the raid on Trump's home was appointed by him 5 years ago this week. That's awesome. That's fire.
Moment in the country's history.
All right, Buck Sexton, thank you so much for joining us on this really scary evening.
Scary.
Let's go to Dan Bongino, the host of Unfiltered on Saturday nights. Dan, your quick emotional reaction. I think everyone's a little emotional here about this raid.
We've invaded nations and toppled dictators for less than what our own FBI is doing right now. Why do we put up with the blatant third world thuggery from a man?
Third world bullshit. I mean every word of that. I don't care that it's cable news. I was a federal agent. I raised my right hand.
Give me
and
more!
I swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. And I love this country.
I'm
this
smoking
is a
on it.
freaking disgrace. A disgrace. We don't live in Cuba. We don't live under Kim Jong-un. We live in a constitutional republic, a representative democracy. You have a bunch of FBI agents raiding the home of a former president because they don't like his politics? Are you kidding me? You spent this whole show, Jesse, and I've spent my entire time either on Fox or on my podcast exposing the left for claiming Russia interfered in an election as Hillary Clinton paid off a bunch of foreign agents, her team literally to fabricate a story that occupied the nation for 4 years. What's she doing right now? Getting a manicure in freaking Chappaqua. She's not doing squat. Nothing. Hunter Biden is having sex on tape while doing crack. And what does he do?
Wait, I don't get it. Like, why are they so mad, bro? Hunter Biden is goated. Okay, get mad at Hunter Biden all you want. Last time I checked, Hunter Biden was not the president. So what's up?
Country where you were allowed to challenge an election. There's even a process. The ECA, the Electoral Count Act. You may not like it, but it's a process. How do I know it's a process? Because some people are trying to reform it. You may not like it, but now you send the FBI. Let me tell you something. I have paid due deference to the FBI for a long time, and a lot of listeners didn't like it because I work with some very good people over there who have since retired. The management of the FBI has now shredded any single sliver of credibility this agency had left. Nobody will take them seriously from this point on. It is over. You've heard the examples. Stone, Manafort, Cohen, over and over. Are they good guys? Are they bad guys? I don't know. I don't care. I don't know them. All I'm telling you is you cannot tell me we still live in a constitutional republic and not the freaking third world when you have Hillary Clinton paying foreign agents to interfere with an election, people lying under oath repeatedly, Hunter Biden doing...
The best part is like, arrest her too. Oh my God, go ahead. Make my day. Oh, dude, can you imagine how sweet that would be?
They're in Mar-a-Lago. This is some third world garbage that happened tonight. And I'm telling you, the FBI management, here's a solution. Last thing. We have now got to win in 2022. You have no choice now, folks. Oh, we don't like the swampy Republicans. I don't like them either. Republicans may not be the solution to your problems, but Democrats are certainly the cause of all your problems right now. If there was ever a clarion call to remove your ass from the seat and go vote in 2022, this is it. And there has to be not only hearings, but a total house cleaning at the top of the DOJ and the FBI.
Stop.
When the left is complaining about one firing, fire 10 more people the next day.
Stop.
And then when the New York Times starts crapping their diaper and whining about it.
What's happening right now? Why is there so much incredible shit popping off, dude? Oh my God.
Barack Obama. I spent 2 years on his detail around the world's hot zones. So I'm not going to be lectured by some a-hole leftist about anything. They didn't see my kid crying as I was flying around the world to protect the guy they loved. He was the president. I did my job. This is freaking embarrassing. There should be a massive house cleaning. And I'm telling you, please, God, I am begging you to vote in 2022, or you might not recognize this place afterwards.
I think people are going to flood.
That's great. They're like flailing and doing, just go out to vote, sweaty. I love that. No, that's great. They're like turning into the Democrats. The moment the Democrats, or the moment that like anyone takes action against the Republicans, they start flailing around and turning into like libs. They're like, please just vote. Vote harder. Vote harder.
President,
I know you don't like the Republicans, but vote harder for them, please.
Donald J. Trump has been going on for years with now the fully debunked Russia scam, impeachment hoax #1, impeachment hoax #2, and so much more. It just never ends. It is a political targeting at the highest level. Hillary Clinton was able to delete and acid watch 33,000 emails after they were subpoenaed by Congress. Absolutely nothing has happened to hold her.
Bro, I'm so happy I took a day off, dude. God damn. I cannot believe it, dude. What a gift. What an incredible fucking gift, dude. Oh, my Lord.
Power to the people and truly
look
delivered
how mad
for
they
our
are.
country. Like we have never seen before. The establishment hated it as they watched my endorsed candidates win big victories and see my dominance in all polls. And they are trying to stop me and the Republican Party once more. The lawlessness, political persecution, and witch hunt must be exposed and stopped. I will continue to fight for the great American people. It's not just about the MAGA movement. It's not just about the Republican Party. This is much, much bigger than politics. This is explosive and dangerous stuff the Biden administration has done. And I think they're going to pay a serious price for this. Dan Bongino, I'll give you one final reaction.
I just want to say in closing, listen, America, they're laughing at you. The left thinks this is hilarious.
It
if
is.
you doubt me, just go to any of their goofy platforms, Twitter or elsewhere right now. They think this
Twitch.tv/Hasanabi. Say it. Say it.
You know what's really hilarious? You going out tomorrow if you're not registered to vote and doing it. That's really hilarious.
Yeah. Go out to vote, sweaty. Go out to vote.
If you don't vote in 2022. Remember, mark the date, folks. It is now 7:40 Eastern time on the Jesse Waters Show on August 8th. Remember the date I told you this. You aren't going to recognize your country if you don't fix this.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Dark Brandon, baby. Dark Brandon all the way.
To bring people together and calm things down after the Trump presidency. And he just burned everything to the ground with what his administration did tonight. This is insane. Dan Bongino, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Now let's go to Fox News national correspondent Matt Finn, who has details about what was taken from Mar-a-Lago by the FBI.
Jesse, the New York Times reports the search, according to two people familiar with the investigation, appears to be focused on material that Mr. Trump had brought with him to Mar-a-Lago, his private club and residence, after he left the White House. Those boxes contained many pages of classified documents, according to a person familiar with their contents. The New York Times reports Mr. Trump delayed returning 15 boxes of material.
Wait, here's the thing. I don't even give a fuck about the contents of the material. I don't even care if it's like it's a nothing burger. The fact that they're flailing and it makes them so mad and it makes them so sad that like their big beautiful boy got raided is enough. That's great. I'm happy. I'll take it. That's a gift. Don't assume that he's going to jail or anything, which would be super sick if that happened, obviously. But like, it's awesome. It's awesome that like this happened and it's just like he's very upset about it. That's great.
Of the raid. Jesse.
All right, thanks, Matt. Let's bring in Jason Chaffetz, a former Utah congressman and Fox News contributor. Jason, what you think happened tonight? Do we have him?
Yeah, there is absolutely no justification, Jesse. Absolutely no justification. I dealt with this. I was the chairman of the Oversight Committee. I did issue subpoenas on Hillary Clinton. At the time, she had no security clearance, none. And there were thousands of documents in her safe at her attorney. They had no security clearance. And you know what? Nobody was prosecuted. Nobody was raided. Nobody went in there in the dead of night. None of the media was given this. Then media, by and large, didn't even report it. The president of the United States, a former president of the United States, has a security clearance. He also has a SCIF. They have secure facilities that they created there at Mar-a-Lago. The president has executive privilege. So he has a classified clearance.
This motherfucker thinks the dead of the night? I don't get it.
He is allowed to possess these types of documents. And if you disagree, then you got to go to court. You got to have a way, not be a banana republic like this action is. Go to court, make your case, allow the president to defend himself in this case. But that's not what's happening here. I want to see these. I want to see Merrick Garland up there, and I want to understand exactly how in the world they can justify going in and breaking into a safe of a former president of the United States. They have no business doing that. None whatsoever.
Well, Chris Wray has to be fired by the next Republican president. Got to be fired on day one. Don't even wait. Just fire him right off the jump. Because this guy is so corrupt. He comes in, cleans up Comey's mess with the Russia collusion hoax. Doesn't do anything to anybody. Doesn't.
Wait. The Truth Social Instagram keeps hinting at a Trump surprise for August 8th like he's Taylor Swift hyping up fans for a new record. Oh my God. Surprise. It was a fucking raid. Dark Brandon strikes again, dude.
Anything with it before the election. They cover it up. And now we're learning that he comes out and hatches a fake plot against Gretchen Whitmer to make the Trump movement look bad before the election. Meanwhile,
I love that. It's like, dude, you don't have to try to make the Trump movement look bad, okay?
he doesn't necessarily fire any of those guys involved in the entrapment. He puts the guy and head of that whole division in charge of the Washington field office. And then yesterday, or was it last week, he goes on to this hearing in the Senate and he says, I got to run, I got to go, I can't answer any more questions. Turns out he takes the FBI jet to his retreat in the Adirondack Mountains. He went on a vacation, and so he didn't have to answer any more questions. I don't see how this guy has any credibility whatsoever, Jason. He's got to go.
Totally agree with you, Jesse. The other thing is, I tell you what, Donald Trump has been the most open and transparent president I have ever been around. You know, when the Mueller probe came in, what did he do? He allowed Don McGahn, general counsel, to go talk to him an unlimited amount of time.
Talking about lock and
His
load.
son, Donald Trump Jr., was able to went up there multiple
times.
They
will cry out
an
authentic pain
They
soon.
did everything. They gave him the political enema of his life. Donald Trump just sat there and let them do it. And guess what? They came up with zero. They didn't have a single thing on Donald Trump, and they tried every trick.
Oh, they gave him an enema, all right. They're still giving him an enema.
Really unprecedented. I don't know of any justification that they can possibly do this. And the other question I have is, where is the Secret Service? You know what? These are two different Department of Justice, yes, but Homeland Security, you're there to protect the president. I want to see the security clearances of each one of those FBI agents that dared to go onto those grounds. And if the FBI overstepped their bounds, why isn't the Secret Service doing their job?
Yeah, we're learning that actually it was agents from the FBI's D.C. field office that conducted this raid. That was the field office that is now being overseen by the agent who was in charge in Detroit that cooked up that fake Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot. The Miami field office was notified just beforehand. We have now, I'm going to let you go, Jason. We have Jonathan Turley, who's a constitutional attorney and Fox News contributor.
Damn, they cut him so quick. That's awesome.
To this insane raid.
Well, it's a breathtaking moment to have a raid like this on a former president and potentially the future opponent of the current president. My first reaction, beyond shock, is that it is baffling how this raid would occur, but Merrick Garland decided not to appoint a special counsel. If there was evidence that supports a warrant, and apparently a federal judge found that evidence, why didn't Merrick Garland ask for a special counsel to be appointed? You know, people like Archibald Cox and others are celebrated because we appointed a special counsel to look into Nixon. Why? It was because we wanted to assure the American people that an investigation would not be political, would not be influenced, in that case, by Nixon himself. Now, here you have the past opponent of the current president and the expected future opponent. I can't imagine how Attorney General Garland would look at that situation and not see an absolute necessity for a special.
By the way, the fucking real winner of this is Ron DeSantis.
On the former president's home. And it is going to trigger the anger that you've already seen. Now, we don't know what these charges are. The assumption is that it's related to January 6th. We've seen warrants being issued from a grand jury. I've expressed skepticism over the ability to charge the president on the evidence that we've seen thus far in that committee. But for me, there is this threshold question of who should be ordering these types of raids. Merrick Garland has refused to appoint a special counsel in Hunter Biden. He apparently has not appointed a special counsel in this case thus far. I just can't understand why.
You're going to see reaction tonight and tomorrow. They're going to ask Joe Biden. He's going to be in Delaware, not doing anything. You're not going to really probably be able to talk to him personally. He'll probably put out a statement. You probably won't actually hear from Chris Wray because he's not allowed to talk about any ongoing investigations. That's what they all say. They can't talk about ongoing investigations. So are you going to hear from Merrick Garland? Are you going to hear tomorrow or tonight on camera from the Attorney General about what the heck he's doing here? Are we going to get that or not?
Yeah, I would expect that we'd have some statement, given the historic nature of this raid. The Justice Department does not talk about ongoing prosecutions and the evidence or details or direction. They don't reveal information of that kind, but they do respond to public moves like this one. This is occurring shortly before the midterm elections when the Justice Department has a rule to discourage any moves that might influence the election. I think that you could have some type of statement being made tomorrow to explain why this occurred at this time. But there are these lingering questions of how this is being handled. This country is deeply divided, and frankly, we're living in this age of rage. I would have thought that Attorney General Garland...
Everyone is so angry. All of a sudden, they're turning into libtards right before our eyes. Let's do some prison abolition, folks. Come on.
Having an independent investigator, I think, is reckless.
It's reckless, and as we've discussed all throughout the evening, nothing like this has ever happened before. And we've had a lot of criminal politicians or a lot of crooked politicians that go in and do this and do a little of that. Not like this. No one's ever sent the FBI into the home of a former president or a former presidential candidate, ever in U.S. history.
I think that's right. Now, I do think that we all have to wait to see what the basis of this warrant is. A judge obviously looked at this and said that there was sufficient evidence
Donald Trump's being raided by the FBI.
The warrant.
All right, so what kind of judge, let me stop you, what kind of judge would they take this to? They take it to a D.C. judge or a Florida judge?
Well, they would, but you would take it to a federal judge to see if they have alleged in that application enough to allow for this type of search to occur. A judge obviously found there was sufficient evidence. Now, we'll have to take a look at what was the crime being alleged here.
Chat, look at Hasanabi. He's literally salivating. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. This is awesome. Well, was such great news. Why wouldn't I? Of course. If you're not salivating, you're a freak. You should even be excited as a conservative, honestly. Like, it's just, you know, really spicing things up.
Evidence there is to support this type of extraordinary raid. If the evidence is no more than what we...
You know who else is fucking salivating? Ron DeSantis.
Frankly, shocked that this type of raid occurred at this time. But we have to wait and we have to see, because we're now working in the blind here. But that's one of the reasons I think there is an expectation, or a legitimate one, that the Justice Department will make some type of statement as to why this occurred at this time, and to give us some notion of what's occurring with a former president and a potential candidate to be the next president.
Well, we're hearing now, and this is on CBS, that these things that were seized related to classified materials not involved with January 6th. I repeat, not involved with January 6th. And that makes me think, didn't Hillary Clinton have classified documents in her house? The FBI didn't raid her house and kick down the door in Chappaqua. A lot of those documents were destroyed. Others were handed over in a negotiated settlement. I don't understand why he gets a different type of treatment than Hillary Clinton. And you said something before, well, you know, a federal judge had to have signed off on it. Well, we got judges that signed off on those warrantless wiretaps on the campaign, and those judges were misled. They were given misleading documents, forged documents, and that was all based on information that was fraudulent.
I'm not going to lie, the butter emails not hitting as hard as it used to, you know what I mean? It's going to be hard to fucking swing this back to Benghazi in 2022.
Classified documents still in his possession, it would be an extension of the earlier search that was conducted. I'm rather surprised by it because this goes to the Presidential Records Act. I just testified on this issue, including Trump's status in Congress under the PRA. And there has been a lot of tension between the archives and former President Trump over his retention of documents. Now, this act has largely not been criminalized in this sense. This is really extraordinary to have a raid like this occur. And it's not clear what evidence they have that he intentionally withheld classified information. The reason it would be serious...
Again, it doesn't matter. Like, you can complain about Hillary Clinton not being raided and not being investigated or whatever, but Trump had 4 years, you know what I mean? Not to toot my own horn, but this still goes back to how expedient Dark Brandon is. Donald Trump took 4 years to fail to prosecute Hillary Clinton for the crimes of Benghazi or her being like annoying or whatever, whereas Dark Brandon raided Donald Trump's home in 2. This is just good politics. Dark Brandon, rise up. I thought this meme was dead this morning, and right now it's very much alive.
About bias in the FBI. That's why I've been this huge advocate of a special counsel to take this away from the Biden administration and the Justice Department to assure half the country that this is not something that's the result of political bias.
Yeah, well, and as you said, and we're going to let you go. Thank you so much, Professor Tully. As you said, this has never been criminalized before, this retention of classified records or presidential records. They've never...
What do you mean this has never been criminalized? First of all, he's not the president anymore. The fuck do you mean?
No, but that's why we put it on CBS Buck. You've had some time to react to this.
She's crying?
Still.
Oh.
Insane. I can't think of another word for it, but this is insane.
Let's think about what the threshold would have to be. I had a top secret clearance at the CIA, so I know all the rules, laws about what is involved there. For them to go and send it...
Bro, if the CIA gave this guy top secret clearance, I mean, they've really fallen off, okay? No wonder they can't even do a fucking coup on Maduro.
Some dispute as to whether they are in fact classified or these notes the president took, for example, by hand. But the threshold for actually sending people in under the threat of force, effectively, the FBI comes in with guns and says, we're coming into your home one way or another. That's extraordinary. So what could possibly be at issue here that it would make this level of FBI involvement in any way justified, not only legally, but you have to look at politically, okay? There is a broader issue here, a broader question. And I would just remind everybody at home that they have lied about President Trump.
Pantry boy with 50 big ones, allowing 50 people at the very least to no longer see the top of the hour ad break. That's right. We might not figure out what the FBI took right now, but you can figure out how to avoid those ad breaks at the top of the hour every hour, where there's a 6-second ad break. And that is, of course, by subscribing. If you didn't get one of the 50 big ones that Party Boy just gifted, okay, then you can subscribe for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime. Here's the 1-minute ad break now.
Of this and the way that Joe Biden is doddering around, that everyone says he's not going to be able to run again. It looks like desperation, but desperation that is led with a nastiness and an undermining of the Constitution.
Yeah, if Joe's numbers were in the mid-40s, there'd be no way they'd do this raid. This is old stuff from the Washington Post. They reported earlier. This Presidential Records Act violation has occurred in almost every single presidency. Every single presidency, there's some issue with retention of presidential records. There's a give and there's a take. We have the Clintons. They took, I think, here, reporting Washington Post, $28,000 worth of furnishings from the White House back to Chappaqua. They said it was a gift. Obviously, that was negotiated. But now they're going after paperwork. It doesn't add up. And again, I'll just repeat this. I don't trust the FBI. They go in and they seize everything. 15 boxes.
I'm not going to lie. Every time he brings up Hillary Clinton or Chappaqua, my mind goes blank. It's not even relevant. It's so old news. It didn't work. It's not going to work. It's not working.
Republican primary voters, so you have to think twice about who you're going to cast your vote for.
It's not 2016 anymore. You're going to come up with new shit.
How could they at this point not pursue some kind of criminal case? Think of the message that's been sent here. They sent the FBI to Mar-a-Lago, the home of the former and possible future, as you pointed out, president. Are they just going to say, yeah, it turns out it was just a little records issue, and so we're going to let that go? When the FBI comes to your home, it's
I'm sorry, dude. Trump had 4 fucking years, baby. He had 4 years. He should have locked their ass up.
So how
I'm on
walk
board.
back from this now?
Donald Trump.
Again, it seems to me like they're building the momentum.
If he actually banned TikTok and arrested Hillary Clinton, he would win re-election.
Like, to put it to
no matter how many people he personally killed with COVID. Okay,
against the former president
straight
of
up.
the United States, come what may for the country, and we all know it would be disastrous.
Do you think the way they're acting, that this is headed for Trump in handcuffs? Is that what they want? Do they want to see the shot of him with his hands behind his back for real, not like Cortez, but for real? With real handcuffs? Is that where this is going?
I think if they could have gotten
AOC
Trump
shout out, real handcuffs for Trump.
Russia collusion, which was a massive lie, which we all now know, and that the corporate Democrat media engaged in for years, Jesse, they would have done it, and they would have been gleeful over it. And now, once again, we see that while Joe Biden's in office and his Praetorian FBI and Merrick Garland doing his bidding is unleashed, things like this happen, and this is putting the country in a scary place tonight about what this looks like going forward. Because if they don't file charges, what was this all about, Jesse? They send the FBI to a former president's home? That's quite a message.
Yeah, well, and we've seen this where they do raids and they don't file charges, or they make big announcements and the cloud of suspicion just hangs over the Republican.
Usually not against the former president.
Never against the former president. This has never happened before.
I just don't get it. Like, why did he take all the classified information and put it in his fucking safe? Like, I mean, you shouldn't have done that, right? Like... I'm like, why are they upset about this? They're like, oh, well, it's fucked up. How are they able to do that thing that they're able to do? It's so fucked up that they're able to do such a thing.
Fox News alert. Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. I am Will Kane in for Tucker. We begin with this Fox News.
Wait, Tucker's not on tonight? No shot. Does it have anything to do with Tucker Carlson shitting himself scared that his Alex Jones text may leak? Shut the fuck up. No way. No way. Oh, dude. What the fuck is going on? Tucker Carlson is shitting himself over the possibility that text between him and far-right conspiracy Lou and Alex Jones will leak, a source close to Fox News told Confider. Carlson and the raving InfoWars ranter trade text messages on a daily basis, according to 2 people familiar with their relationship. If made public, these sources said that the text message would be highly embarrassing for Carlson. 2 years worth of text messages sent and received by Jones are now in the possession of the U.S. House Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol insurrection after the far-right conspiracy king's lawyers accidentally sent a digital copy to all of his texts to the lawyers representing the families affected by the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre. The lawyer representing the families, Mark Bankston, has publicly said the text messages include intimate messages between Jones and self-described dirty trickster Roger Stone, who melted down on Telegram and called for Jones to sue his own attorney. Carlson and Jones have maintained a friendly relationship for years. The Fox News primetime star has made multiple appearances on Pantry Boy. Thank you for the 50. Get it? What the fuck is going on? Jesus Christ, dude. Fucking chill, brother. Also, Slopperson, thank you for the 5 gifted. They've made multiple primetime stars made multiple appearances on InfoWars. Gushed over Jones's unhinged rhetoric, branded him a more talented than I am, and supplied fawning blur for the bullshitting blowhard's upcoming book. Toad Astronomer and O.B. Sean Kenobi, thank you for the 5 get the subs as well. Maybe Alex Jones is onto something, Carlson wrote. On the back of the cover of The Great Reset and the War for the World, read this book and decide for yourself who's crazy. Tucker Carlson is also not doing his primetime news show tonight. I wonder why.
Was there a legal basis? Or
thank
was
you, I am
this
the Dengus,
a
for the 20
partisan
gifted subs.
Witch hunt. To begin that conversation,
And thank
let's
you,
start with Fox
Aka
News'
BD,
Mike
for the 20
Emanuel,
gifted subs.
who is standing by with the latest. Mike.
Well, good evening. Fox News has learned from a source close to the former president that Mr. Trump was in New York City at Trump Tower when he learned about the FBI raid of his Mar-a-Lago home. The New York Times is reporting that federal authorities appear to be focused on material former President Trump brought with him from the White House to his home in Palm Beach, Florida. That published report cites a person familiar that the raid began this morning.
Thank you, Rauda
and
and
notes the
Divya
former
Licious for
president
the 5
delayed
gifted
returning
subs.
those 15 boxes of material requested by officials with the National Archives for months. Fox News is working to confirm all of those details. Fox News has confirmed the raid of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home with a law enforcement source familiar with the search warrant. Per standard protocol, Attorney General Merrick Garland and FBI Director Chris Wray were aware of this, have been fully briefed, and will continue to be.
I'm going to keep it a $1.50. The one thing I can think of is that they got so cocky because they knew that they were like dominating and then just basically didn't even take the necessary precautions.
Mr. Trump called the raid unannounced and says it was not necessary or appropriate.
Look how tiny his hands look, by the way. But yeah, I just think that maybe they got so cocky that they were just like straight up like taking classified documents, hiding it in Mar-a-Lago, doesn't even give a fuck.
The search comes after numerous televised hearings on Capitol Hill looking into the events of January 6, 2021, and more questioning of former Trump administration officials by the Justice Department regarding the events after the 2020 election in the final weeks of the former president's time in office. It's not entirely clear why today was chosen to launch the FBI raid.
Thank you, Gray Name Good Chatter,
calling it
for the 5
political
gifted.
targeting at the highest level, comparing this to former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, but noting nothing has happened to hold her accountable. Will?
Mike, I'd love to follow up with one question here for you. I noted you said both FBI Director Christopher Wray and the Attorney General Merrick Garland were aware of this raid. Do we know, and you mentioned both of these potential evidentiary or legal basis for the raid, do we know specifically, was this about those confidential material, the alleged classified material that were in boxes taken to Mar-a-Lago, or was this connected to the congressional investigation around January 6th?
We have not been able to pinpoint that just yet. We know that there was back and forth between Trump administration officials and the National Archives over 15 boxes of material. We do know that. What we haven't confirmed just yet
Thank you,
is
Crying
whether that is
Shamoose,
the reason
for the 5
the
gifted
raid
subs.
that happened at Mar-a-Lago today. So we are working to button that up, but that is the latest
FBI
information
was
that we've
related.
seen in terms of that New York Times
AP
report.
source.
So we wanted to provide it to our audience and let our viewers decide.
Okay, so everyone is confirming this. AP source confirms FBI search of Mar-a-Lago was related to whether Trump took classified information from the White House. So there it is. So yeah, it is because he was dumb enough to like fucking take classified information from the White House and hide it in Mar-a-Lago in a fucking safe.
Leading to a raid of his Mar-a-Lago home today, Will.
And as of tonight, no comment so far from the FBI.
Friend of the show, Chelsea Manning, says everyone in government does this, by the way. I mean, it's kind of like Hillary Clinton's private email server, right? Like, I mean, she went fucking brazy with it, but it's certainly something that even Mike Pence and the Trump administration unironically did immediately after hitting Hillary Clinton in the head over it. But for me, it's awesome. Like, I do personally think that this is great that it's happening regardless. Oh my God. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Folks, after tweeting the upside down American flag, she says, defund the FBI. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Fair statement. Unprecedented action by the Department of Justice. Let's talk about exactly what you, the viewer, what you, the American, should be taking away from this with Stephen Miller. He's a former senior Trump advisor, and he joins us with his reaction. Stephen, what a day in American history. Your reaction?
This is an abomination. You have the sitting president of the United States, Joe Biden, through his Justice Department, through his FBI, conducting a raid on the person who is presumed to be his opponent in the next election, and also the 45th president of the United States. As President Trump pointed out in his statement, it is risible that this would be purportedly done in the name of document preservation from the leaks we've seen, when Hillary Clinton used an off-book server for years to conduct classified state business, and at the same time, money was being funneled by the millions into the Clinton Foundation with the very people she was doing business with, that to this day has never been investigated, not by the FBI, not by the IRS, not by anybody.
This is a really, really weak attempt, dude. This is kind of weak, I'm not gonna lie. Constantly hitting the Hillary Clinton butter emails note. Weak. Pathetic. Pathetic, dude. Give me something new.
All that Trump was accused, it seems that Biden is intent on embodying. It was said that Donald Trump would, quote, lock her up. That did not happen, as you just pointed out, with Hillary Clinton. There was no raid of Hillary Clinton and her classified documents. But here now, under Joe Biden, there is exactly that pursuit. There is the use of law enforcement to go after his political opponent.
Let's talk about the security state that has been after President Trump for 6 years. When he declared his candidacy, and then when he became the nominee, they began pushing the Russian collusion hoax. Let's not forget, for years of our national life, the official position of the government, of the Beltway class, of the media.
Why is it weak? You don't have reasoning to say that? The Hillary Clinton emails? Because Donald Trump was president for the past 4 years, you fucking L nerd. Hold this L. Do you think I want Hillary Clinton walking around freely? No, it would have been awesome if she got locked up. It would have been sick, just for my own twisted desires. But guess what? Donald Trump failed to fucking prosecute adequately, investigate him, utilize the DOJ. And instead, the very same fucking FBI director that he appointed turned around and raided his bussy. Hold this fucking fat L, nerd. If you fail to fucking investigate Hillary Clinton, you can't cry about it 4 years later. Okay? Which, by the way, they did actually investigate her and you know, hold this L again. Nothing came of it, so. Get fucked.
We have a branch, a division of government that has decided, throwing back to the eons before in the Roman Empire, that they can decide, that they are the guardians of the empire, they can decide who leads us and who doesn't. This is an unprecedented development for this country, and I would say nothing like this has happened, as far as I'm aware, in any other of our
Thank you, anonymous
peers.
user, for the 10 gifted subs.
And what, therefore, do you think, Stephen, will be the fallout? You just laid out beautifully the power of allegation. You laid out beautifully the power of investigation. What occurred over the last 4 years amounted to nothing. We know the facts. We know what ended up, or what did not end up, in conclusion with all of those allegations and all of that investigation to Donald Trump and Russia. But the power of that investigation and that power of that allegation captured, held hostage America and a presidency for the better part of 4 years. Now you have a new investigation. You have a new allegation, Stephen. What happens? What's the fallout?
the only recourse that I can see in the near term, there'll obviously have to be a cleaning house in 2025. In the near term, there needs to be such a large majority elected in the House.
Oh yeah, they're using this to be like, come on, you got to vote extra hard.
Subpoena, but to impeach any and every official who is involved in wrongdoing, both current and past, and to ensure that we finally uncover the truth about who was involved in each and every one of the scandals and misinformation campaigns.
Why would you vote hard when the votes are rigged, though? I mean, you spent the entire fucking past like 2 years nonstop complaining about how the votes were gonna be rigged and how they are rigged. Like, why are you now telling them to fucking vote in like rhinos? You know what I mean? If they were real ones, they'd be calling for civil war and shit. But of course, they are also the comfortable elitists that they endlessly claim that they are not. You know what I mean? And that's precisely why they won't do anything but say, vote fucking harder, vote harder.
Allegation, this investigation into Donald Trump is going to be more than the burden of proof in a court of law. The American people have lost trust in institutions, media, science, medical, FBI, intelligence agencies. What do you think on the back end of this, Stephen, will be the attitude of the American people towards institutions that have been granted inherited credibility for decades?
Well, look, people look at Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro facing jail, Eric Holder walking free, and they see that there is a double justice system, one for people that support the regime and one that are opposed to it. You talk about the 87.
I love that the FBI didn't lose credibility for like fucking up in defending the country from 9/11. I love that the FBI didn't lose credibility when they under the Obama administration consistently fucking targeted like autistic Muslim teenagers to make it seem like they were doing terror attacks. They didn't lose credibility for any of those things. The surveillance state kept getting beefier and beefier. But finally, God forbid, they go after Donald Trump one fucking time. Then it's like, oh, the FBI lost all credibility, folks. Real fucking bad.
Yeah, and it just highlights this is about more than a former president.
9/11 was FBI and the CIA.
The American people. Stephen Miller, you always put it into perspective well. I appreciate you being with us on Tucker Carlson
Thank you
tonight.
so much.
All right, let's turn now to Matt Whitaker. He's the was the acting attorney general under Donald Trump, and he joins us now. Matt, I'm glad to have you with us. Let's go into what would it need, Matt? Walk me through the process of accomplishing a search warrant.
They found the most thumb-like motherfucker to talk about executing search warrants.
And what type of burden would they have to shoulder on an evidentiary basis to send FBI agents into Mar-a-Lago?
Well, it's a burden, but it's not insurmountable. And one of the first things they need to do is have an alleged crime. And then second, they need to swear a fact.
Stop. The FBI notified the Secret Service that a warrant would be executed, and the Secret Service facilitated access to Florida Trump property as fellow federal agents, but did not take part in the investigation or search. Bro, as Donald Trump can't ever feel safe around Secret Service no longer. You can't. They let him in? Dude, of course they let him in. Oh, that's so good. Oh my God, the story keeps getting better. Oh, fuck me. The story keeps getting fucking better. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
Or cast a shadow on that individual that is now subject to those law enforcement actions. And in this case, I just think this is an outrageous expansion of the FBI's, really, I don't know how else you say it, attack on Donald Trump for the last 6 years.
So, Matt, I want to take you up on your invitation to back it up a couple of steps. So in order to launch the investigation, who would have to give the green light? Who would have to ask for the search warrant before it gets to that magistrate judge? I'm going to ask you, and I'll ask you ahead of time, and you can help answer this. It would, I would assume, require the director of the FBI, perhaps the Attorney General Merrick Garland. Would it, in your estimation, go as high as to the White House and the President of the United States, Joe Biden?
Yeah, I would be surprised if this Department of Justice allowed Joe Biden to be involved. That would obviously be a line that shouldn't be crossed in a criminal investigation. But yes, I would expect that Chris Wray and Merrick Garland both signed off on the criminal investigation of Donald Trump. And that
obviously is a big step, and both of them, fearing for their future, are probably have some measure of conflict in this situation. But a typical investigation, an agent can go to a supervisor, tell him what he has and make sure that there are reasonable investigative steps that can be taken based on an initial predication of that case, obviously in concert with a prosecutor like a U.S. Attorney's Office. But this type of case where you're going after a former president of the United States and possibly future president of the United States would involve the Attorney General and the FBI Director and senior officials.
I know what the MAGA response is.
So I'm going to ask
I've been
you to speculate
tracking
here,
it.
Matt. You can decline if you would like, but I'm going to ask you to speculate. We have listened to Chris Wray over the last several weeks or so, and in the last week at the very least, testify before Congress about the resources.
150 Secret Service agents, 300 faces. Yes, dude. No friends in the industry, okay? Surrounded by fake friends. Do you see that? Dude, fallen. The president has fallen. The real president. Surrounded by fucking fake friends, dude.
Prosecutorial discretion in where they choose to put their resources. So I'm curious. The FBI has chosen to devote resources to Donald Trump. Why, in your estimation? What is this about? Is this about supposed classified documents? Is this about January 6th? Why is this at the top of their list of priorities?
Well, Will, that's a great question. And obviously what you prioritize, you put resources towards. And if you...
I love the wording of the possible future president of the United States. It's like, bro, anyone that was born on U.S. soil is technically that. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean possible next president? Like, you can't say that. That's a ridiculous take.
Donald Trump and the previous administration. And it's hard not to believe that these are politically motivated. Like, I have spent 7.5 years at the Department of Justice. It's an institution that should be trusted, but they have eroded that trust to a point now where I think they, to your point earlier, they have a burden to demonstrate that this investigation is not completely politically motivated after Hillary Clinton walked scot-free for the last 7 years.
Matt, and I don't know how they satisfy that burden.
Fucking Sebastian Gorka blocked
at a
me.
minimum, Matt, it would require some form of a guilty verdict in some court of law. But what we've seen over the past several years is the power of allegation, a simple investigation.
Gorka!
And without at a minimum, a guilty verdict, but I would say the burden is probably more heavy than that because the American people have to look at the inconsistencies, which you and I are both talking about, right? Hunter, pro-abortion violence at pro-life centers, whatever, limited resources, and we cannot help but see, because of these hypocrisies,
President Biden struggles to put on his blazer before dropping his trademark aviators.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think this is where, the American people need to ask very difficult questions. Congress needs to ask very difficult questions because at the end of the day, if they're really planning on bringing Donald Trump to Washington, D.C. in front of a Washington...
Conservatives, this is your fucking villain, dude? Is this the antagonist? Is this your opponent, conservatives? Y'all fucking lost to this man? He can't even he can't even work his way through a blazer, dude. Oh no. Oh no. Owned by a fucking basically rotting corpse. Can't even put his fucking jacket on. Oh my lord, dude. Oh my lord. Yeah, I know the Secret Service opened the doors up. I already made memes about it. I've just been live memeing every moment of this. It's so fucking great. Yeah, can't even hold his glasses up, dude.
And one last question, Matt. You were acting Attorney General. You have an expansive view of American history. In your estimation, we heard from Stephen Miller a little bit earlier that in his estimation, he can't find another example of something like this in American history. Can you?
I can't, and I think this is unfortunately we've crossed the Rubicon to some extent where previous administrations are now investigated and previous presidents are investigated by the next administration. This is something from banana republics, not the United States of America.
Yeah, totally.
Matt Whitaker, that's exactly what we've begun to hear. Banana republic. Thank you so much.
Man, it's so embarrassing.
You've heard it mentioned
it's not embarrassing that Trump was president and did a whole bunch of insane shit. It's what's embarrassing is that for the first time ever, there might be like a level of accountability for a previous president, which is unheard of. That is truly unprecedented. Now, I'm not holding my hopes. I'm not keeping my hopes up for this. Oh, now they got Hunter Biden in there
and hooking up with prostitutes. In addition, the FBI has been in possession of Hunter Biden's laptop for more than 2 years, and that laptop includes evidence of tax fraud. It also contains evidence of the Biden's family's overseas influence peddling operation in Ukraine, in China, potential corruption at the highest levels of the American government that you would think would at least warrant, I don't know, a look under the covers by law enforcement. So,
is this true?
Why hasn't Hunter Biden been raided by the FBI? Jerry Callahan is a radio host in Massachusetts, and he joins us now. Jerry, great to see you. Maybe I shouldn't be asking you to explain the hypocrisy. Maybe it's obvious. It's just partisan consistency.
It is obvious, Will. It couldn't be more obvious. You don't have, speculation when it comes to Hunter. You have his actual laptop. You have photographs, videos. He videotaped everything. That was his thing. So there's not a lot of gray area there. And not only do they not raid Hunter, not only do they not arrest him, but no one expects them to. No one has any faith in the justice system. See, I think what we're dealing with today
this is the reason why people don't have faith in the justice system.
It feels like it's over, that everybody has to understand they're the partisan, militant wing of the Biden administration. And I would remind everybody that about 3 hours ago, Will, Joe Biden couldn't put on his sport coat. He struggled. I don't think he's controlling things.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, you just got owned by that guy. He's right. You got owned by that guy. Trump, your big, beautiful, glorious president, got owned by a man who can't even put his fucking jacket. He lost to a fucking blazer.
Billionaires and corrupt corporations, when you see how they don't hesitate to militarize, to weaponize the various administration, their wings, their departments against their enemies. It is the most
Okay, this guy's kind of boring, so we're going to move back and we're going to watch some fucking lib gloating.
That the White House didn't know, and Caitlin Collins was just on earlier in this hour saying that she heard as well as I that the
While I go pee real quick.
Biden White House outside, the actual White House, not in the Justice Department, they didn't know. They were blindsided. They found out when we all did, when the former president put out that press release. There will be more reporting to be done, but especially given what David was just saying and given how buttoned up and cautious Merrick Garland is, especially with something as sticky as this, it's hard to imagine that they gave the White House a heads up.
David, again, what Scott just said, that it's possible that they have martyred Donald Trump there. That language is so interesting. And Merrick Garland, at least from outward views, has been so careful up until this point. I mean, wouldn't you think all of this would be taken into account?
Well, 100%. I mean, I think that Garland understands, and he has crossed a Rubicon here. If you are going to prosecute a former president of the United States, you'd better be pretty darn sure that you have an open and shut case. And I'm sure that a lot of discussion among the prosecutors took place. I do agree. I would be stunned if anybody in the White House, including the president, knew. I mean, think of all of the criticism that the president laid against Donald Trump for his intervening and trying to shape what the Department of Justice did. I mean, that was really an essential part of his campaign. The ethics of a president meddling in these kinds of investigations. So I would be stunned. But to your original question, absolutely. They must feel very sure that they have something here. I don't think this is a fishing expedition. I think they know what fish they're looking for here.
If I may, John, I think we have to be
John,
really
one
careful.
more. Hang on one second, Scott. Dana, and then I'll come to you,
Scott. This is related to,
to
what Scott said. I don't know if he did it intentionally or not, but we have to be careful not to adopt the term raid. That was an intentional use of a word, and we haven't done it all night, but just, and I know, Scott, you were saying that the Republicans are saying that this is a raid and that he'll be martyred, but the use of the word.
Oh God, here's the thing. No, they're right. This is a very real part of this, okay? Now, this is a very real part of this. Listen. If it turns out that this is not even a real fucking raid, okay, then everybody got, okay? Trump could very easily be like screaming about it and being a drama queen about it and saying that it's a fucking raid when it's not actually a raid, only to turn around and be like, oh, they found nothing because there was nothing going on, but they raided me, I'm a political prisoner.
And talking about this, if this is about the archives, why did they do this? But you'll remember, there were a lot of, lock her up chants about Hillary Clinton's emails when the issue was, classified information and records and the like. So Republicans have had an issue with this type of thing before.
Yeah, and obviously that, they'll have to fight that out and deal with their own past statements. What I was going to say, I think the 2024 ramifications here that I'm also looking for tonight are, what do the other possible presidential candidates say? I already saw Kristi Noem, Governor Noem, come out and slam what the FBI did here. I suspect more people will do that. And so it will be interesting to me to see who in the Republican Party adopts an aggressive posture attacking what has happened here, who lays off, who lets it settle for a day. I'll be sort of watching the positioning of that, because obviously, there are several people circling Trump here about 2024. And look, if he gets convicted of a crime here, may not be able to run in 2024. And so how these people
that's why I said Ron DeSantis sends his regards
is going to be obviously part of the Republican primary to come.
I'm honestly shocked as to how they were able to keep this a secret, because a raid of this magnitude, not even a raid, but like literally going in and opening up his fucking safe and like getting access to these details, to these documents, like that is being conducted at the highest level of government, okay? The fact that like the Brandon White House is saying that they didn't know about it is bullshit. I don't believe that at all. But even if that's the case, everyone down to the fucking Florida Attorney General and the federal the federal judge that signed off on the warrant, like there are so many people that knew about it, and the fact that none of them even leaked it is wild to me, okay?
Right. So he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing here.
And right now, he is waging a one-sided PR campaign. He is running a political campaign in regards to this judge-approved search of Mar-a-Lago. Dana, it's not typical for the Department of Justice or the FBI to comment at length about what they were searching for or what they were doing. How long will they be able to maintain their silence, do you think?
We don't know the answer to that, because what has happened is unprecedented. The person they're dealing with and the fact that he is so aggressively trying to own the narrative and in the 2 hours since this has happened, not even, has been successful. And the way that is going to change is by hearing from the people who thought it was appropriate. And it's really unclear. David, you worked in a White House when you had to deal with that. Maybe he knows better than I, but it's really unclear. Maybe this is such an unprecedented situation where they will feel the need to explain why they thought they had it buttoned up enough that they went to the judge to get the search warrant.
Knowing Garland, my guess is that they're going to play this out in the four corners of a courthouse. I don't think they're going to play it out on television. They're going to play it out in the courthouse and do everything by the book. There are a lot of particularly Democrats who are complaining that, he's moving too slowly on these matters. He should be more aggressive on these matters. He took his time for a reason. He's going to do everything by the book. And the book says you don't talk about these things until you have to in a courtroom.
I gotta say, it raises a whole lot of questions. We have a whole lot of questions going forward. Dana Bash, David Axelrod, Scott Jennings, really appreciate you coming in and working through this with us tonight. Coming up, a former Secret Service agent joins us for his take on what happened.
Please.
Got my hair, got my head. Introducing new one-a-day
Don Jr. weighs in. Clearly, a banana republic is going to be the line throughout the saga. Dude, it's kind of wild how quickly they fucking move. Like, it is pretty wild how quickly they move on talking points and how collectively they do it as well. Oh, Steve Bannon is on the phone on Fox News. Steve Bannon is on the phone.
I said, we're at war. We're at a political and ideological
Trigger warning, Steve Bannon.
They've obviously weaponized the Justice Department. And this had to be approved by Ron Klain. This had to go up to the White House to be approved. Absolutely. Anybody saying it didn't is a liar. This had to go up the chain of command through Merrick Garland to Ron Klain at least. And Ray and these guys. But look, here's the thing. This is about pure power politics. They're absolutely scared to death about Trump. They can't be. Mark Elias, the guy who laid out the entire effort to steal the 2020 election, remember the Transition Integrity Project, he's tweeting right now all the U.S. codes about documents and they can have, make sure you can't run for federal office again. They're absolutely petrified Trump's going to announce in the next couple of weeks, win the Republican nomination, win the White House. Now, here's what's incumbent upon everybody. The House leaders right now need to step up and recommit Jim Jordan. Full investigation. I think cutting off appropriations to the FBI to get to the bottom of this. Okay, this is going to continue on. The FBI right now is the Gestapo. The FBI is the Gestapo. Whether it's out in Colorado, putting a Gold Star mother like Tina Peters in chains, Peter Navarro in chains. It's absolutely obscene. This is an obscenity, and we're going to have to fight fire with fire. The way to do it is win elections, win them overwhelmingly, and then use the appropriations process to choke down the FBI and choke down the Justice Department and get
the
to
talking
the
points are out. Vote extra
so
hard.
outrageous.
Why not Hillary Clinton?
It needs to be investigated.
I want to ask you this question, Steve. I'm familiar with your point of view. I'm familiar with the opinions you share on War Room. I'm familiar with how deep you fear the corruption has run within the United States of America. I'm curious. I said this earlier in the program. Believing elections can change the place in which we sit today in the United States of America is a very optimistic point of view, because this corruption, if it is partisan corruption, isn't relegated to the FBI. We saw 87,000 new IRS agents have been hired. You can look at almost any federal institution, including the intelligence community, who dismissed Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation. And you can say to yourself, this isn't one apparatus. This is not one department.
Steve Bannon is a top G.
Election. Our problem is deeper.
Well, you're 100% correct. This is not about corruption. That's not corrupt. This is about the administrative state. This is about an undemocratic apparatus, bigger than bureaucracy. This is the administrative state, and they want to run things their own way. And they want to pick and choose who actually runs and who actually wins. This is why it's incumbent upon, look, we have 2/3 of the nations in back of us. Hispanics, African Americans,
Wait, did we just
Asian
miss
Americans.
it?
It's now time to take control of the House of Representatives with an overwhelming victory.
Trump was going to run. Trump was going to announce his run.
People have to step up, and Kevin McCarthy have to step up and say, we're going to have full investigations. We're going to choke them down in appropriation. Listen,
I got it, Steve.
This is a non-democratic. Okay, go ahead.
I hate to cut you off, Steve. We have more information coming in as we speak, so I got to get to that. Steve, it's great to hear from you tonight. Thank you for your time. All right, this is a Fox News alert. Donald Trump said tonight his Mar-a-Lago home is under siege by FBI agents. A source tells Fox News that agents are indiscriminately removing items from the residence. We're also learning the president's son, Eric Trump, spoke to our own Brian Kilmeade and told him as many as 30 agents raided the former president's Palm Beach home. So Fox's Mike Emanuel is joining us again with the absolute latest. Mike.
Will, good evening. Sources familiar tell
They sent
Fox
their fans
News
out there?
FBI raid of former President Trump's Palm Beach home is related to the taking of potential classified information from the White House upon leaving office January 20th of last year. The National Archives says there were 15 boxes that contained what it believed to be presidential records, noting they must be preserved. A source familiar tells Fox FBI agents went to Mar-a-Lago looking in every single office in the president's safe and grabbed documents in boxes without reviewing them there on property. The source telling Fox they took boxes and documents to review once they left Mar-a-Lago and were told they were not being judicious about what they took. Fox has learned former President Trump was actually at Trump Tower in New York City when he learned the raid was taking place in Florida. The former president saying in his public statement, they broke his safe. And obviously, he was quite upset with the raid taking place.
That part is so funny. They broke my safe. No.
All right, Mike. Thank you there for the latest. So as you've heard tonight, now the Former President of the United States' home in Mar-a-Lago has been raided by FBI agents. Upwards of 30 agents broke into a safe, took boxes of documents away, not discovering them, not going through them on premises, but taking them away for further analysis. We do not have information at this time as to why. What is the legal or evidentiary basis as to what is the investigation and the raid into Donald Trump? But for now, we turn to Fox's Shannon Bream for a legal analysis of the situation unfolding tonight. Shannon, great to have you with me. Let's take this from a legal perspective as you look at what's happened and what has occurred. What's your takeaway?
Go back to Fox. Trump supporters have a right to defend him. I know, I'm on Fox. They were showing it. They were showing the Trump supporters that went to Mar-a-Lago to defend him from being raided.
You are a gifted lawyer and know this just as well as anybody. You've talked us through what would happen. I mean, this doesn't just happen overnight. You go through a judge. There is an internal decision-making process.
Okay, this only makes the L more permanent, though. When they
people
describe,
have to talk over the possibilities of what could happen here, and it's so rare because there's never been an indictment of a former president, a criminal indictment of a former president, and who knows whether we'll get to that place. But this is part of a case. This is part of what you would do, is go get information and go get things that you would claim are evidence. It's interesting if, as what Laura Trump has been saying, I'd be interested to see if the DOJ and FBI also believe, as she said, he's been cooperating. He's been working with them. They may likely have suggested otherwise.
For the record, if they actually don't find anything in there after getting a warrant to search even his fucking safe, then it is a gigantic L and basically like a Jim Comey style helping, Jim Comey style boost for Donald Trump to line himself up as someone who's politically persecuted by the highest law enforcement authorities. So they better fucking have an indictment. The FBI better have, or the federal government must have an indictment coming after this. Because if they don't, oh my God, what a gigantic fuck up.
Many of us want to think that our institutions are unreliable or that we cannot trust in them. We as Americans want to have faith in them, that they're going to go after criminal wrongdoing wherever they find it. So this FBI has clearly made, and this Attorney General has made the calculation that they think they have enough to move forward and risk the political optics of this, because as you know, and I know you've discussed earlier on the show, there is this, conversation about not pursuing indictments and things so close to an election that they would have an impact in a way that could unseat or that could upset the political balance. So they've walked through those considerations.
Well, sucks to suck because he wasn't able to fucking announce that he's running, so it doesn't even matter.
That's all we can assume at this point.
What do you, Shannon, help me understand what you mean by moving forward. So what we know now is that they have raided the Florida home of former President Donald Trump. We do not yet know why. So I would assume there's some burden that had to have been satisfied before the judge, probable cause. I don't know. I'll lean on you for that burden. But what does it tell you that they chose to do this? Are they committed to some further action, to bringing some charges? This can't simply be a fishing expedition.
Well, normally you would say in a case that if a warrant is executed, it does not mean that there is an indictment looming or that something further is going to move forward. But in a case like this, they have had to think through the next several steps. This is a former president. This is not something that has happened before. So clearly they feel like they have the strength of whatever they've alleged and whatever they've ascertained so far in this investigation to move forward. Now, we've been considering this in the context of the January 6th investigations and hearings. But what we're hearing tonight, the indications seem to be this is not about that this is about presidential records and the maintaining of them after someone has left office. So it can be a different thing if you're talking about indicting a former president for something that happened while he was president. That's kind of the conversation we've been having if this is connected to January 6th. But tonight it sounds like a different conversation, like they may be talking about pursuing something against the president for something they believe that happened after his time in office and what he did with records after he left Washington and was no longer the president of the United States. So those are two kind of different tracks there. But you got to think, because of all of those political calculations, they wouldn't move forward unless they had some confidence, some level, that they have at least the basic makings for what you would pursue in this kind of case, because otherwise it does get into the optics of where we've seen all of these other cases where it seems like a hammer is being used instead of a fly swatter in some of these cases. Only they inside the DOJ and FBI know tonight.
Yeah, if this were all there were to it, that would be a hard image for the FBI to overcome. You would have to think they calculated a next step. So this is not the end of their story. Shannon Bream, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
See you well.
It's worth noting the former president of the United States' home was raided before Hunter Biden's. There's a lot more evidence of Hunter Biden's crimes. Miranda Devine has covered them all extensively. She's a columnist at the New York Post. She joins us now to put this raid into context. Miranda?
Good evening, Will. It's pretty incredible, and you can only wonder how this is going to play with the Hunter.
Did you just say former President Hunter Biden? Like what? Guy just tried to do a Tucker laugh and failed horribly. Yeah, I mean, this guy's a $2 Tucker. She's a demon, by the way. I'm a firm advocate for not allowing, like, I do want to do a political test for Australians and Canadians who consistently send their worst fucking members out here. Like, if you're even remotely right-wing, you should not be allowed into the country. They truly do stink up the place pretty hard.
I've spoken to have said that this really looks like, to them, like a fishing expedition, because if you can enter with a warrant on these sort of documents that are supposed to be given to the archives,
the Hogs have made it. Alert!
And
Alert!
you find something else related to
the Hogs have made it to the Mar-a-Lago. The Hogs are out there protesting the Florida raid. The FBI raid.
That they don't want President Trump running. They're so afraid. Are they? Okay, how late are we getting? I'm going to have to get my phone.
The Hogs have made it, folks.
Party. It's a terrible thing for America. And
see, me and the
think
Fox News producer have the same brain rot. Look at that. Immediately, they moved over to the fucking Hogs outside of Mar-a-Lago too. You see that? Same brain rot, baby.
What people think of Donald Trump, they know that this is an outrage to be raiding a former president's home. He's not just the former president either. He is the likely future candidate for president in 2024. So this is so political and disastrous. And when Christopher Wray, the FBI director,
they're so funny. They're like, it's so close to an election year. It's like, bro, 2 years out the line, really? So I guess you can never fucking, like, I guess you can never prosecute someone because you could just say, I'm running for president 4 years down the line. Like, even if there's a new president, you could be like, I'm running for president 4 years down the line. So this is a political trial against me because I'm running for president. Like, what this makes no sense. The midterms are happening, okay? You can't say, unless Donald Trump is like literally running for, I don't know, like a Senate seat or some shit, you can't say that this is, hurting his chances of running for election.
And saying that the laptop was Russian disinformation, just as he lied about the first impeachment of Donald Trump, he said he didn't know anything about the Ukrainian whistleblower, just as he lied about the Russia collusion hoax. This is the chairman of the Intelligence Committee with oversight of the FBI. It is really quite frightening.
How do you explain it, Miranda? How do you explain the devotion of resources to this, to what we're watching unfold today and tonight, and the total lack of a devotion of resources? And that really doesn't do it justice, because the FBI didn't just decline to investigate Hunter Biden. They spun it as disinformation. So how do you explain that disparity?
Well, it just shows the politicization of the FBI, and under a completely weak director, Christopher Wray, who was...
I just don't understand why they're like legitimately... I mean, I guess I do understand it, but it is kind of funny that they are saying that, like, Donald Trump... Like, they're openly mentioning why they did the raid. They're openly mentioning what they were looking for. Obviously, even Fox News' own legal counsel is like stating that they must have had pretty solid evidence to you know, go and execute a search warrant like this, especially on a former president, which is unheard of, right? So for all of this to happen, like, there's something out there, right? So what the fuck are you trying to spin it on? You're like, oh, this is political, is so unacceptable, is political. It's like, bro, he did fucking break the law. You know what I mean? Especially if they were like subpoenaing those documents and Trump refused to give it, like, what do you expect them to do? Like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Isn't opening safes pretty normal in a situation like this? Not necessarily. You need additional evidence, or you need additional, you need to bring proof that the evidence that you're looking for is very likely in that safe. Like, for example, when raids happen, when no-knock raids happen, oftentimes, if you don't have a specific warrant for the specific safe that you're mentioning, even probable cause on the scene is not going to be enough. Like, you need to get a separate warrant. Oftentimes, they'll do a raid. They'll literally go back to the fucking federal judge, or they go back to the judge and they say, hey, there's a safe in the house. We need to open it. Can you give us an additional warrant? So they had to have convinced a judge ahead of time, knowing full well that there was a fucking safe in there. The raid is news, but breaking archival law isn't new. I think breaking archival law isn't new. I think Reagan, Clinton, and Bush's son did too, from memory, at the end of their presidency. Certainly. Which is why I think that breaking archival law alone is not going to be enough for them to conduct a raid like this. Like, it seems fucking insane that they would do a raid like this that is unprecedented, specifically because, like, Donald Trump broke archival law. You know what I mean? That's bullshit. So let's see. Laura Trump had a really interesting take. Apparently, she claims, but she is a fucking dumbass, so I don't know. But she claims that Donald Trump was going to run for president, like he was going to announce his presidential run.
Laura, you've spoken to your father-in-law. Therefore, you have the most immediate information of anybody we've spoken with tonight. Does he know? Do you know why his home was raided?
He believes it's the documents in question that, everybody's been really upset about from the White House. Look, my father-in-law, as anybody knows who's been around him a lot, loves to save things like newspaper clippings, magazine clippings, photographs, documents.
Yeah, he's just a silly goose, dude. What do you mean? He's just a hoarder. You're being ableist, Sweaty. Laura Trump is like, Donald Trump has a medical disability. He is a hoarder, okay? Gotten psychiatric treatment for this. And classified or not, you're being ableist for attacking him for his scrapbook.
That he had every authority to take from the White House. And, again, he's been cooperating every single step of the way with the people that have questioned any of this. And I know people have brought it up before, but, look at Hillary Clinton, the 33,000 emails that she just deletes that are.
Laura, you've spoken to your father-in-law, therefore.
Okay, that's not enough. Someone was saying that Laura Trump mentioned that, oh, Donald Trump spotted, Donald Trump spotted, Donald Trump spotted, Donald Trump spotted. Folks, Donald Trump spotted at Trump Tower in New York. Let's take a look. Somebody asked him apparently what his feelings are on the matter of the FBI overreaching, overstepping, attacking this man for being a big, bold, brave, and beautiful patriot.
Mr. Trump, can we get your reaction to the raid? Mr. Trump, can we get your reaction to the raid, sir?
Well, he's surrounded by other Secret Service members. I'm just saying, he is surrounded by other Secret Service members, which is, of course, quite suspicious, considering what we know about the Secret Service and how they open the fucking doors. Lara Trump appears on Fox News as it covers Mar-a-Lago search, saying she has talked to her father-in-law and he's shocked as anybody. She calls it an attempt to hurt him, as he's going to announce any day that he's running for president in 2024. We didn't get that part, but... Motherfucker, Trump is... the former president's house is being raided by the FBI, and there's still motherfuckers going, look up I show speed. That's awesome. Like, yeah, dude, totally. Let me just cut to like a I show speed calling the cops on himself and getting arrested for it real quick.
Entire country. Some of them are still going on. I understand that, but we have to come together if we're going to save.
Like, unless I show speed personally has some level of fucking involvement with Donald Trump, and that's the reason why he got raided at the same time that Donald Trump got raided, I'm not interested. Is that what you're trying to say? Are you trying to say that Aiden Ross and I Show Speed, both of which got raided earlier today by the law enforcement authorities, just like Donald Trump, are somehow connected to one another? Then yes, you are probably correct. I already made that joke like 3 fucking hours ago. But other than that, I'm not interested.
This raid lawless and unprecedented. The question is, who had to sign off on this? Jonathan Turley is a law professor. He joins us to break down the legal implications. Jonathan, I'm really happy to have you on the program. How high did this have to be approved?
I think that Attorney General Merrick Garland almost certainly signed off on this. It's hard to imagine a decision of this magnitude would be made without his knowledge and approval. He hasn't recused himself, and so that assumption, I think, is well founded. The news accounts indicate that this is not about January 6th, but about the Presidential Records Act. And the National Archivist under that act can ask the Attorney General to intervene when someone is not complying, including a former president, by turning over material. We know that material was taken previously 2 months ago. Now, putting all of that together, we're still speculating as to what the federal judge signed off here as probable cause of a crime. There are provisions like Section 2071, which allows for 3 years in prison for people who knowingly conceal information they're not allowed to retain. That would include...
Oh my God, that'd be so sweet, but it would be like kind of weak. It would be kind of weak to throw him in jail for that, but I'll take it.
Records Act being the basis of this type of action is that it has not been traditionally a criminal matter. Certainly, it has not been that way for former presidents. Indeed, you had people like Sandy Berger, a former national security advisor, who was found to have taken classified documents out, hidden in his socks, and he was not prosecuted. You also have records cases like James Comey was accused of taking FBI material out when he left the FBI. The history has been not to prosecute those cases, which is going to become more relevant as we go forward.
Wow, that is fascinating and important information. So what you've highlighted for us here is the willingness of the DOJ to go after, I assume, quote unquote, classified material in the past, Jonathan, and then choosing again, once again, to see an inconsistent application here when it comes to President Trump. One legal question before we go, Jonathan. Would it not, let's assume this is about those, as you pointed out, we're speculating. Let's assume it's about those documents and that they are, I'm assuming classified has a lot to do with this, that they were not supposed to be removed because of their classification. Were Donald Trump president of the United States when he left the White House, and you're assuming when he left, he still had the power of the presidency and took those documents. Doesn't he also have the power to declassify documents, Jonathan?
He does. I testified on that in Congress on this very issue.
Oh, dude, that doesn't... Okay, well, I guess then it's fine. Well, good thing he's not the fucking president anymore.
That ended when his presidency ended. And they could be arguing that if he did not turn over these documents, he knowingly retained documents past that privilege.
That is very, very key. That's excellent information tonight from Jonathan Turley. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, the raid on Mar-a-Lago isn't the first time.
He didn't fucking declassify those documents. And also, doesn't even matter because he's currently not president anyway. Pretty much every single person is like, pretty much every single person that we've heard from on the Fox News side have just been engaging in the most ridiculous amounts of copium. I don't know what to say other than fake Tucker not cutting it for me. I haven't heard him blame black people. I have not heard him somehow pin this crime on undocumented immigrants. Rather surprising from the Tucker Carlson broadcast tonight.
I think of them as allied but separate, with the deep state really being the intelligence apparatus, and the FBI is part of that. I think that we need to get control over that agency. It's more out of control than the CIA was when Senator Church held his famous Church Committee hearings. We need the incoming Congress,
thank you, Bill Vaughn, for the 5 gifted subs,
to do the same thing, to turn the FBI upside down, looking at that department so that it can be reformed, and so that if Donald Trump does run for president again and takes over and can use his CEO skills, he can reform that entity.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, you know, it's funny the way the word conspiracy has been thrown around over the last several years. It would be a conspiracy to deny the existence of an administrative state. Jeff Clark, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Will.
FBI agents raided former President Trump's Palm Beach home earlier this evening. The former president said in the raid, which was unannounced, that it amounts to, quote, prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponization of the justice system, and an attack by radical left Democrats who desperately don't want me to run for president in 2024, especially based on recent polls. Trump said agents also broke into his safe. Francie Hakes is a former...
Yeah, bro, the radical Democratic FBI was checking the polls nonstop, and they were like, oh, man, fuck, Trump is going to run for president. Oh, shit. What the fuck, dude?
The partisan potentiality of this. Does this hold, in your estimation, any legal water? Assuming this is about those documents, boxes of supposed classified documents, what is the burden of proof? Where does this go legally?
Yeah, great questions, Will. I worked in classified information.
There's literally nothing funnier than the fact that the FBI director was appointed on this day 5 years ago by Donald Trump. It's his own FBI director. Like, why didn't you use him to fucking prosecute Hillary Clinton? Like, you fucking cuck. Goes around, comes around, I guess.
And I would have trusted that. But after the Russia collusion hoax, the FISA warrant that was misused and gotten illegally against Carter Page, and the way the FBI treated the Hillary Clinton investigation, where they never sent a single subpoena or served a single search warrant on Hillary Clinton or her aides, her laptop or her secret server, it's very hard for me now to say that this does hold water. I hope so, honestly, for the Justice Department that I served for 10 years and the cause of justice that I've served my entire career as a prosecutor. I actually hope there is probable cause. But from what we're hearing, I don't have any faith that that's true.
There's so little faith left, I believe, among the American people for their institutions. And I think you're exactly right. The burden of proof now for the FBI and the DOJ to retain what little faith the American people have in that institution, those institutions, that is what is at stake. Francie Hakes, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thanks, Will.
All right, Donald Trump said tonight his Mar-a-Lago home has been under siege by FBI agents. Ned Ryan is CEO of American Majority, and he joins us with his reaction. Hey, Ned, I'd love for you to pick up on where Francie left off. You know, it's impossible to separate this from the last 5 years of allegations and investigations, from Russia collusion to the supposed, Russian...
Here's what's really hilarious. Talking about Russia collusion. Okay? Here's what's not actually good. For the Republicans to constantly talk about Hillary Clinton. Texas Patriots arriving at Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago. Like, this dude is the most, these are the most annoying people on the planet, dude. Like, do they have a single fucking family member? Wait, what is this? Quarter J shocked by today's news. I fucking hate today, Jesus. Nothing works. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna say that. Okay. Don't bring normies into this, okay? They don't know any better. They don't know any better. Even though I'm joking, obviously. Hannity's malding? Wait, Hannity's is... Oh, Hannity! Oh, yes!
While he was
in
New York,
save us.
according to President Trump,
save us, Sean.
Warmed his residents.
Give me that guac 6,000. Oh my God! If only Donald Trump fucking calls in.
45th president wrote, "Quote: My beautiful home is currently under siege, raided, and occupied by a large group of FBI agents." He continued, "Quote: Nothing like this has ever happened to the president of the United States before. After working and cooperating with the relevant government agencies, this unannounced raid on my home was not necessary or appropriate. It is prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponization of the justice system, and an attack by the radical left Democrats who desperately do not want me to run for president in 2024. According to the New York Times tonight, who got
the rate of
scoop
MAL
first,
is another
somehow,
escalation of the
search
weaponization
was
of federal
focused
agencies
on
against the regime's
documents
political
that the
opponents.
former president brought with him from the White House, including potentially classified documents. Sources are now telling Fox News that the raid was not related in any way to January 6th, but according to one source, the FBI was, quote, not being judicious about what they took during the search. Just so we are clear, this raid is truly, completely unprecedented, and you can't imagine this would have ever happened to a Democrat. This is where Americans now begin to ask the question, do we have a dual justice system in America? Is there equal justice under the law? Do we have equal applications of our laws? Remember Hillary Clinton's house? It was never raided, even though she stored troves of classified material on a personal server. She deleted 33,000 emails. Remember, nobody had ever heard of Bleach Pit before Hillary.
Okay, bro, come on. We're just like hearing the same thing over and over again. Sean, come on, give us something good. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Trump failed to fucking investigate or arrest Hillary Clinton. That's a fat L. Nobody cares about the fucking fattest of L's, okay? Trump was president for 4 years. He was a big, beautiful boy. He was our big, beautiful boy president, and he failed. He said, lock her up. And I thought, maybe he will lock her up. He did hold the L. Oh, my God. He literally held it. That's funny. And then he never locked her up.
The real quid pro quo, bragging that he withheld $1 billion taxpayer dollars. You have 6 hours to fire a Ukrainian prosecutor who he turns out was investigating his son Hunter, who was being paid millions of dollars with no experience at all whatsoever. Hunter lies on a gun application. What happened to Hunter? Nothing. What if it was Don Jr.? What if it was Eric Trump? On tape, you have of course, Hunter Biden smoking crack and with hookers. I think those things are illegal. What happened to him? Nothing. We had Director Wray before Congress last week. They have had Hunter's laptop longer than anybody. What have they done with it? Nothing. Millions of dollars paid to Hunter from Ukraine, Russia, a $1.5 billion deal with the Bank of China.
Okay. Yeah, arrest them or shut the fuck up. All right. FBI search some. Oh, they're just like describing what a federal search warrant is on the New York Times. President Biden's top aides found about the FBI search for Mar-a-Lago from reports on Twitter and had no advance notice. Yeah, you're right. Michael Pillow, president of My Pillow, also used to smoke crack, literally smoked more crack than fucking Hunter Biden as far as we know, and they love him. So what the fuck? It seems a little bit like you're envious of Hunter Biden's fat hog, okay? That's, I think, what you're envious of. Have you seen this yet? First they came for Roger Stone. I said, great. Next they came for Alex Jones. I said, good news. Then they came for Donald Trump, and I said, this is also excellent. Yeah, it's just like, can it get any better? I don't know. Let's see what what happened with Donald Trump Jr. Okay, stop sending me fucking dumb lib shit, dude. Okay, Adam Parkamenko or whatever. No, give me some good tweets. Y'all are fucking libbing up a little too hard. It's like hard to distinguish whether or not you're being sarcastic or if you're like legitimately libbing up right now. Anyway, Donald Trump Jr. says Biden's out of control. DOJ is ripping this country apart with how they're openly targeting their political enemies. This is what you happen to see. This is what happens in third world banana republics. Will someone from Fox News just call Trump and ask him what the FBI took from Mar-a-Lago? Because I'm positive he will just spell it out for someone. Just let him talk for an hour. Yeah, I mean, he did, though. We already know what it is. We already know exactly what it is. It's the 15 boxes of documents that they are referencing. After today's raid on Mar-a-Lago, what do you think the left plans to use those 87,000 new IRS agents for? And here we go. The government is hiring 67,000 more IRS workers. Why do you ask? That's right. To round up every conservative in the country and put us into camps. Attorney General Garland says, preserve your documents and clear your calendar. I've seen enough. The Department of Justice has reached an intolerable state of weaponized politicization. When Republicans take back the House, we will conduct immediate oversight of this department, follow the facts, and leave no stone unturned. Attorney General Garland, preserve your documents and clear your calendar. Love that. Yeah, they're trying to use this as a rallying cry. But here's the problem. Okay? Here's the issue. Republicans are very good, okay? They're very good at tying back things that only impact the wealthy all the way to the dumb motherfuckers who don't even have dentures in, okay? That desperately need it in areas of, in areas in a state of disrepair. It's not, they don't have enough time to be like, oh, the FBI investigating Donald Trump for, you know, files that they refuse to fucking send over to the FBI is just like you. Like, it's just like you. They'll come after you too. It's like, that's not the same. I don't even think the January 6th prosecution has had a clear-cut through line that targets or impacts like average Republicans in some meaningful capacity. Because they originally started off by claiming that it was like Antifa. You know what I mean? They would have yeah, you're right. They would have an easier time saying this is revenge for Roe v. Wade. Well, actually, no, not Roe v. Wade, because the Roe v. Wade is not that popular. They would have an easier time saying like this is because, you know, we're prosecuting gay teachers or some shit. This is because we owned all the 14-year-old trans girls that dared to swim at a swim meet. Okay? Like, they don't have enough. That's why they're scrambling right now for a good talking point that cuts through the fucking noise. You know what I mean? Because they don't have anything good right now. Like, they're kind of cooked. That's why they're saying like, oh, well, what about Hunter Biden? What about Hunter Biden? Like, it doesn't really matter. Basically, none of their planks besides racism are popular, and it's hard to tie this to Mexicans. Yeah. Well, that too. I did see Kevin Oh, Dersh! The Dersh!
You don't go into the safe.
Why? Why? Oh my God, thank you. Why, but also thank you. Oh, fuck.
That the material in the locked safe.
Oh my God, I hate to do this to you at the top of the hour, but there's a 60-second ad break coming to you right now. If you want to see uninterrupted Dersh rants about pedophilia, how he never sexually assaulted a minor alongside Jeffrey Epstein, all that good stuff, then all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account where you get one free Prime subscription a month, or by getting gifted a sub if you're lucky, if you're a lucky boy. Here's the 1 minute ad break now. The Dersh!
In a democratic rule of law country, you do it legitimately. You go to the lawyer, you say, by tomorrow, I want that safe delivered to the Justice Department. I want these documents turned over. And unless you can demonstrate that there was a very substantial chance they would have been maliciously destroyed, which would have been a serious, serious crime. I mean, that would be a serious crime. That's Nixon. And there's no evidence that that happened here.
It isn't, but, you know, how, I guess what everybody's wondering, especially in light of what we went through for 3 years, Greg, at some point, when do you say the abuse of power, the corruption, the witch hunt?
Raid profiteering? Oh, you bet your fucking ass I'm profiteering off of Donald Trump getting raided, dude. Are you kidding me?
One man and one man only, and a whole double standard exists, and nobody else is ever held accountable for either the exact law, similar sets of circumstances. I know it was different with Comey, but similar. The same with Hillary, the 33,000 emails, the dirty dossier, the FISA application, Sandy Berger. You run through the list, and nothing ever happens if you're not a conservative or a Republican or a Trump supporter.
Yeah. Let's just take one of those examples, Hillary Clinton. Her home in Chappaqua was never raided, even though she maintained a private server there, upon which she downloaded classified top secret documents, thereby jeopardizing.
I don't care. Then Donald Trump should have fucking landed her ass in jail. He promised to arrest and investigate Hillary Clinton, and he never did. Okay? Shut the fuck up and hold the L.
As I say, jeopardize national security.
Shut up. Hacks and put the Dersh back on. We already heard this talking point. Let the Dersh talk. He's gonna fucking bring up like pedophilia and Jeffrey Epstein for no reason. I want to hear some new shit. Shut up, dumbass.
Prosecuted. No, James Comey stood in front of television cameras and he identified all the crimes she committed and then did a pirouette in the course of 5 seconds and said, but no reasonable prosecutor would ever bring such a case. Thousands of reasonable prosecutors would have loved to have brought that case. And besides,
hey,
James Comey isn't the
25
prosecuting authority. He usurped the power of the attorney general. That's just one example of the double standard that exists with Donald Trump.
All right,
Where
if you stay there, Greg, go ahead, Professor.
I don't think you use search warrants and prosecutions to go after political enemies. I've just written a whole book on that called The Price of Principle, where I go into the whole issue of why you don't use partisan considerations to go after political enemies. That's what happens in banana republics. That's what happens in third world countries. That's not supposed to happen in the United States. It was right not to go after Hillary Clinton because she was a candidate for president. You need a much higher standard, but you can't apply one standard to Hillary Clinton and another standard to Donald Trump. That's
did the Durst suck off a Smurf before going on the stream, by the way? And then the Smurf knocked out a tooth? Because why is his tongue blue?
And the attorney general there, she should have been prosecuted then.
All right, I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you. All right, thank you both. Governor Ron DeSantis has now tweeted out the raid on Mar-a-Lago is yet another escalation in the weaponization of federal agencies against the regime's political opponents. While people like Hunter Biden get treated with kid gloves, now the regime is getting another 87,000 IRS agents to wield against its adversaries. Banana Republic, he writes. We have GOP leader, well, we'll get to that in a second. Kevin McCarthy has just tweeted out, Attorney General Garland, preserve your documents and clear your calendar.
They want to make the conservative movement look hot so bad. They're like, yeah, we're fucking fighting.
And today, Eric Trump is with us.
Eric Trump alert!
You were with your dad as this was unfolding?
Yes!
I was, Sean. In fact, I was the guy that got the call this morning, and I called my father and let him know that it happened. So I was involved in this all day. And,
Eric!
Welcome to politics in the 2000s. Sean, my father never got so much as a speeding ticket in his life, until he made one decision, and that's to go down the escalators of Mar-a-Lago and spend a lot of money and go in.
He was literally investigated and charged by the federal government originally because alongside his dad, they refused to fucking rent out properties of black people.
article. This is when impeachment begins. He wasn't president. He hadn't been elected for for 5 minutes at that point. And they start, this is when impeachment begins. And then he's impeached the first time. And then he was impeached a second time. And they slandered him. They belittled him. They went after him. They went after all of us. There's no family in American history that has taken more arrows in the back than the Trump family every single time. And you know what? It's gone on past politics.
God, he's
you look
so
at the
whack.
generals,
Donald Trump
you look
really
at
sucked
district
up the
attorneys,
entire charisma of the family, bro. His children got nothing. He's such a fucking whiny little fail son. Oh my
They go
God.
after him. They subpoena him. I'm probably the most subpoenaed person in the history of the United States. Every single day we get another subpoena. And they do it for one reason. Because they don't want Donald Trump to run and win again in 2024. And Sean, that's what this is about today. To have 30 FBI agents, actually more than that, descend on...
No political family has had to withstand so much awfulness. Like, I don't know, the Kennedys. Every fucking Kennedy's been murked. What the fuck's he talking about?
They broke into a safe. He didn't even have anything in the safe. I mean, give me a break. And this is coming from what? The National Archives? Yet, Hunter Biden, he's a firearms crimes, prostitution, illegal drugs.
When Tarantino posted your tweet on his IG, no fucking shot. That's not
on his laptop for the whole world to see. In his own writing, in his own words, corroborated by everybody. Where are these FBI agents? Where is everybody? Why is it that the arrows only fly at Donald Trump and his family?
What a random
Why is it that
debate.
the political persecution only goes one way in this country?
Well, let's talk a little bit about
Oh my
what
God,
you
he
were
did.
being told. What
Oh
was
my
the
God, he
purpose
did.
for
Oh my
this
God, he
raid?
literally did. Oh my God.
Sean, the purpose of the raid, from what they said, was because the National Archives wanted to, corroborate whether or not Donald Trump had any documents in his possession. And my father has worked so collaboratively with them for months. In fact, the lawyer that's been working on
And
this
he asked me to be a collaborator on the post, and I just accepted it.
All of a sudden, on no notice, they sent 20 cars and 30 agents. Sean, I mean, this is just more political persecution of Donald J. Trump. They see Biden.
Well, let me go
He's
through
failing
this in a little
every
detail.
single. Please.
But because I'm assuming, all right, so your father is packing, he's leaving the White House. I don't know. I'm guessing that your dad probably didn't pack a single box. I'm just guessing. You would know better than I. You can tell me if he did or if he didn't.
Hasanabi hit.
All these
I will
boxes,
show my piggies for him.
all your personal items get brought down to Mar-a-Lago. There's a question about whether there might be classified information that had been written about a long time ago. Let's walk through the process. So Mar-a-Lago, the people that work for your dad, were working with the National Archives to go through the material to make sure if there was anything mistakenly taken that it was going to be returned. And you were working collaboratively on that. Is that correct?
So when the president moves out of the White House, you have effectively, 6 hours to move out of the White House. It's effectively inauguration time where one president gets moved out and one president gets moved in, right? That's how the whole system works, as you know better than anybody. My father always kept clippings, press clippings. He would have, newspaper articles, pictures, notes from us. When my mom passed away a couple weeks ago, he still had all the notes, over the years had been saved, all the notes that she had ever written him. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. My father saves clippings and things like that. So he had boxes, all right, when he moved out of the White House. And he was very collaborative. If you want to search for anything, if you think anything, come right ahead. I mean, it was not real. It was an open door policy. And all of a sudden, 30 agents descend upon Mar-a-Lago. Sean, this didn't come from the little local FBI field office in...
It's fucking... Wait, it's not even real. Just confirming, I'm not Quentin Tarantino. What the fuck? Why is it verified? God damn it, dude. I got got. I got fucking owned. Oh.
He had an incredibly strong country. People realized he was an effective president. And you see Biden right now. I mean, Taiwan is getting circled by military planes literally as we sit here and speak right now. You've got, Russia, Ukraine, which is a total disaster. You've got everything that's happening in Iran.
No! Not while Eric was talking. You thought Quentin Tarantino was a Hasan?
Iran, which is a disaster. Yes. You've got inflation. You've got gas prices. All the things that you talk about all night. We're not respected by anybody around the world. Our economy is...
This is what happens when you get one guide, dude. This is what happens when you get fucking one guide, okay? I got one guide and I believed something so silly.
And they're doing the sham January 6th panel that does not have a single Republican on it. I mean, other than Liz Cheney, who's about to lose her race by 25 points, right? It's more political persecution of Donald J. Trump. They can't stand that Americans love him. I mean, even as I watch the channel right now, they keep on showing these beautiful clips of people, waving Trump flags outside of Mar-a-Lago, his supporters. When has that ever happened in a political movement in the United States before?
You think back to the Russia hoax, the Russia witch hunt, the conspiracy theory. It went on for 3 long years. Eric, I covered it every single night, and we ended up being vindicated on every single solitary thing that was reported on this show with our full ensemble cast. Ari Fleischer tweeted out, "All I can say is the FBI better have a slam dunk criminal case. Otherwise, the Biden administration and the DOJ have crossed a line of no return." What could they possibly think existed inside of Mar-a-Lago in a box that was taken from the White House that was so damaging that the FBI director and the Attorney General of the United States...
Well, you know what? We all want to know that, Sean. All of us want to know the answer to that, Sean. What? Oh. I
don't know. They'll probably find a note from me telling him how proud I am of him and what a great job he was doing as president. They might find some pictures of my kids, maybe some nice, headlines. Maybe.
What? No, they wouldn't say that. Oh my God, that's so sad. He said there would probably be photos and how proud I am of him. What?
For 3 years, based on lies
so
and
sad.
deceit and dirty dossiers.
That's
and
so
FISA
fucking
warrants
sad.
And everything
Why would
else,
you openly admit that?
And everything proved to be incorrect, fraudulent, made up, an absolute sham. They dragged this country through hell.
That's kind of sad.
And here they are
That's
again, raiding the guy's house. I mean, when do you give up? When do you say enough's enough? When do you give a human being, who fought so hard for this country, when do you give them the benefit?
He doesn't know you, little bro. He doesn't love you, little bro. I hate to fucking do this to you, but, rip the Band-Aid off right now at the ripe age of 43 or however fucking old you are.
That dossier is disseminated to the press, the media mob, or the willing accomplices. They disseminate false information in the lead up to the 2016 election. Nothing happens to her. Nothing happens to the media. They don't even apologize or correct the record at any particular point. Then, of course, that information, unverified, is used to spy on Carter Page and backdoor into the Trump campaign, transition team, and presidency. Nobody gets held accountable for that. If you or your brother Don Jr., God forbid, you lied on a gun application, I doubt you'd be on this program tonight. You'd be serving time in jail. Or you have process crimes. Peter Navarro was being charged with a misdemeanor. That usually means you call the lawyer and say, have your client report at this time, at this place, or we will secure a warrant for that person's arrest. Same with a process crime with Manafort, or same with Roger Stone. Sure. I mean, these are not violent criminals that deserve pre-dawn raids with guns in their face, and then, of course, tipped off CNN cameras. And America tonight is asking, do we have equal justice and application of our laws in this country? Because after the way they treated your father with the Russian hoax, after, again, they better have a good reason for this. And here's another thing. Were the lawyers allowed to follow the FBI through Mar-a-Lago today as they were looking everywhere? Did anyone watch them?
No, the answer is lawyers weren't allowed. They weren't allowed to be anywhere within sight. It's horrible. That's got to be a violation right there. They weren't allowed to be anywhere in sight. And going back to Hillary, there's a whole lot of other things. How about the Benghazi scandals? How about the Clinton Foundation? I mean, how many, shady oligarchs from Russia were contributing to that? How about Uranium One? You want to talk about, scandals that were never investigated, never vetted? It's the rules for thee and not for me, right? That's the old, Sean, this has been happening since day one. They cannot stand that a guy named Donald Trump, who is a real estate developer, who built tremendous wealth and fame, was able to go into a political system in the U.S. and take out a person like Hillary Clinton and beat them at their own game, and then go into Washington, D.C. and do a phenomenal job and not play by the rules
She
and
fell
end up becoming
off.
one of the best presidents this country has ever had. And then they
She
put in
fucking
one of
fell
their own,
off,
and the guy
bro.
turns out to be an absolute flop. He does a terrible, terrible job, and the country is going to hell under his leadership. And then now all of a sudden they realize that his son's in trouble, and that he's in trouble, and their political party's in trouble, and that Donald Trump is poised, if he wanted it, if he decided to hop back on that stage and wanted it, they know he's poised to win. And guess what? That threatens them, that threatens who they are, and they will do anything they can to take him out, to take me out, to take Don out, to take Ivanka out, to take our family out. They do it every single day. They do it at a state level. They do it at a federal level. The FBI does it. They subpoena us. They make our lives hell, Sean, every single day because they are threatened by Donald J. Trump. And honestly, I hope, and I'm saying this for the first time, I hope he goes out and beats these guys again, because honestly, this country can't survive this nonsense. It can't. This is not who we are. This is who Venezuela is, Sean. This is Banana Republic antics. Having a home of the 45th president of the United States raided by FBI agents, safes broken open. This is not who we are as a democracy. Imagine if that happened to Barack Obama. The world would be in an uproar.
Well, Eric Trump, I don't know. I think Ari Fleisch is right. If you watch what they've done over the years, they don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore because they lied and they tried to take your father out for 3 years, and they used a dirty Hillary dossier to do it. They spied on him illegally. Nobody was held accountable. She wasn't held accountable. No raid of Hunter's house. They've had the laptop longer than anybody. Director Ray, oh, I don't know anything about the laptop.
It's pretty funny. They're just like repeating the same things over and over again. At a certain point, it just comes across like really desperately just like yelling about like talking points. It's just really desperately cycling through talking points.
On this front, justthenews.com founder, CEO, editor-in-chief John Solomon is with us.
He's like, we're going to have John Solomon with us to repeat the same exact talking points that we've been hysterically screaming about one more fucking time.
I've been doing reporting for the last couple hours. This is what we've learned. First off, there are three significant things. This does involve an allegation from the National Archives of looking for classified information that the president took from him. This is an extraordinary departure from the way the FBI handled identical allegations in the summer of 2015. I broke this story back in 2015 at the Washington Times. When the FBI had similar allegations about Hillary Clinton, they allowed David Kendall, Hillary Clinton's lawyer, to take the thumb drive with the classified emails and put it in a safe in his office. He confirmed that on the record to me back in 2015. An entirely different treatment for identical circumstances. Secondly, a lot of people I've talked to, including people in the FBI, are really dubious why a grand jury subpoena wasn't delivered instead of doing a raid. I think Alan Dershowitz covered that perfectly. Third, and this is very important for people to understand, this comes less than a week after the Judicial Watch filed a lawsuit against the FBI saying those declassified documents that President Trump had, that the National Archives has, that the FBI still has, that have never been released till they were ordered released, Tom Fitton sued them. Today they announced that they've sued to free those documents up. All of those things are the backdrop, and here's the final piece. The Washington field office is the office that the agents came.
Bro, they're wilding out. Representative Anthony Sabatini says, it's time for us in the Florida legislature to call an emergency legislative session and amend our laws regarding federal agencies, sever ties with DOJ immediately. Any FBI agent conducting law enforcement functions. I mean, this guy's just like a fucking Congress. He's a part of the. He's just a representative. You know what I mean? These guys always say stuff like this. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? He's just like, he's irrelevant. Any FBI conducting law enforcement functions outside the purview of our state should be arrested upon sight. I'm gonna have to give this a like and probably a retweet as well. I agree. I think that Florida should secede.
He called those allegations very troubling. He removed the assistant special agent in charge of the Washington field office, and here they are in the field in action again.
Hold on. It's just like, I've been advocating for this since day one.
which I would doubt, or inadvertently were brought to Mar-a-Lago, it sounds to me like the type of thing you send the archivists down, they go through the boxes of stuff you have and see if, in fact, there is anything classified that shouldn't have been packed. Doesn't that seem like the logical way? Because nobody seemed to care when Sandy Berger went into the National Archives and started shoving documents we believe related to 9/11 down his crotch and on his backside and in his socks, and walked out of the National Archives, and everybody in the liberal media started saying he was just sloppy when he put it in his crotch next to his private parts. He was sloppy when he put it by his backside.
I remember well. I was at the Associated Press when I broke that story. Listen, there's another fact.
I cannot wait to build a wall around Florida. Extract all of the people that want to leave Florida. Extract everyone that wants to leave Florida and just leave it as like a crypto fail state.
If they don't have smoking gun proof that the president was about to destroy documents, this raid is going to be laughed off. And next year, when Republicans get control, we're going to find out just how political the FBI was on this.
Oh, I think we'll find out before then. I think we'll know by November for sure. The American people deserve to know. John Solomon, as always, thank you. All right, take a look at your screen. We just got this in. Video of the raid this morning on Mar-a-Lago. You can see it right there. Cars coming in. Looks like dark at night again, early in the morning. But that's the only footage we have as of now. Here with more reaction is Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. I think you remember the Sandy Berger incident. He went into the National Archives.
Oh my God, does Newt have cancer? What the fuck? My favorite take, dude. I have 1.1 million Twitter followers, brother. What the fuck do you mean? Check your Twitter replies. Like, what is that? Do you understand what my Twitter replies look like? Like, do you have any idea? Why don't you ever critique MSNBC? You must be new here because I do that all the fucking time. The only difference is right now, they're not even doing good content. They're just fucking gloating. And that's boring.
That would mean 162,000 IRS agents
Fox makes better
compared,
content.
for example, to 29,000 people that we have on the border trying to control the border. But the purpose of it's simple. They want to control you. These raids, the kind of thing you talked about earlier with taking people off an airplane in chains, having a guy standing outside at 3 in the morning in his pajamas, these things are all designed to intimidate. If this government can get away with third world tactics worthy of Venezuela or the East German Stasi or Zimbabwe under Mugabe, if that's the future, then the Constitution as a working document has ceased to exist. And I think part of the answer has to be to say to everybody who's going to get very upset, fine, go beat them at the polls in November. The answer to this is get a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and let's rip the corruption.
Dude's a little bit better at talking points than everybody else. That's why he like dropped the whole Mexicans at the border talking point. You know what I mean?
That 30 FBI agents had invaded Mar-a-Lago when it was totally unnecessary. And it's clearly an effort designed, I think, partly to goad President Trump in the hopes that he will do something that will further validate the left's fantasy about the kind of guy he is. The fact is, he did nothing wrong. He's cooperated. And for his trouble, and you just heard Eric say this, the Trump family has been persecuted more than any presidential family in history. And I just want to repeat, if they can do this to a former and potentially future president, what can they do to you or your cousin?
Yeah, if you break the rules, violate the law, yes, the government might come after you. This is the same argument that they fucking try to do when it comes down to tax evasion. They're like, oh, the IRS, like they're coming after you. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, if you're yeah.
Have your client report at this time at this place. You don't make a scene at an airport to humiliate the individual for a misdemeanor. I would argue the same for a process crime in the case of Manafort or Roger Stone.
Okay, this is cucked. This is cucked. Now they're starting to recognize that like there's probably legitimate reason as to why this raid was conducted. So now they're saying it's actually humiliating that they did it the way that they did. They went from like, this is totally unwarranted, should not happen, to slowly but surely easing into, oh, they just wanted to humiliate the president.
Out in handcuffs and shackles, too. This is why what Sandy Berger did is important. Now America has a right to ask, okay, why did you do this? Because I can't conceive of what would warrant the Attorney General of the United States and the FBI director to allow and approve this action. Can you think of what they might have in the box?
This has been wonderful because we're watching like the 5 stages of grief happen on Fox News. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Everybody keeps trying to understand these people as though they are reasonable. This is the first big government socialist machine at a national level we've ever seen. We saw Tammany Hall in New York. We saw Mayor Daley in Chicago. You know, we saw Huey Long in Louisiana. This is a machine. This machine is going to die if Donald Trump wins, and they know they're going to die because they have to survive off corruption and they have to survive off people doling out money like crazy. And so they're fighting for their lives. So to ask the question, why do they do this? I think it's like asking, why does a lion eat a zebra? These people get up every morning terrified. They know they're at war with the American people. They know that overwhelmingly the American people disagree with them. And if they can't find some way to intimidate us, to force us on defense, to tell us to shut up, and that's why they go out and they deliberately humiliate somebody, because you know what that does? That sends a signal to 6 or 8 or 10,000 people. You want to be humiliated? And I have friends now who tell me, serious senior professionals, that they're frankly frightened. They don't want to stand up and say they're for Donald Trump because they're afraid of what's going to happen. Either their big corporation is going to fire them, or if they're a lawyer, their law firm may kick them out, or they may be visited one morning by the FBI or by the IRS. Remember, we had a whole IRS scandal under Obama where they were targeting specific people. Do not underestimate how deliberately these people are committed to doing whatever it takes, including destroying the Constitution, in order to retain power. And that's going to be a major issue between now and the election this fall.
Mr. Speaker, I'm hearing you echo comments that Mark Levin made, that we live in a post-constitutional America. It sounds like you agree with him.
Well, I think we're on a balance. I think if the Republicans win this fall and reassert the Constitution, which is going to mean, frankly, firing an amazing number of corrupt people, then the Constitution will survive. But if the left manages to survive and manages to stay in power, I do think Mark Levin's right. We're entering basically a Venezuelan, Zimbabwean, East German style banana republic in which the law doesn't matter. What matters is power. What matters is favoritism. What matters is whether your team is paying off the right people. And that would be a very sick and tragic end to the American dream.
Zimbabwe's a cool mention.
Don't you believe?
Shout out to Zimbabwe. That's a cool mention. That's not really ever something you hear from the Republicans. So
to explain why they authorized the raiding of a former president's house, don't we deserve some explanation?
No, I don't. No. I think they owe the American people resigning. I don't need to be told by 2 liars the latest lie. The fact is, they authorized something that is clearly outside the bounds of the American system. They authorized something which has never, ever happened in American history. And the idea that they innocently, we didn't...
Conservatives are so awesome because they will be like, we need to defend the Constitution, but then the moment that like laws are used against them, they're like, throw it out. It's a piece of paper. Who cares? I wipe my ass with it. We need to literally assassinate the heads of the FBI. You know what I mean? Like the moment that someone like sneezes in their direction, they're like, okay, we need to jail everyone in the FBI immediately. Like it's awesome. It's so funny to watch where they're like, Constitution is nothing but a piece of paper, and the founding fathers were actually slavers, so they should go to jail too if they believe that Donald Trump should be investigated. It's great.
Have notice of this raid and referred us to the Justice Department for any additional information. Sources familiar tell Fox News this.
My sources are telling me that Google is down. Alert, alert. This is not a This is not a joke. That Google is down. Trust the process. Hashtag Dark Brandon. Hashtag calling all patriots. Yeah, no, it's over. Google is down, folks. Google is down. Is it back up again? Hold on. It was down for a second. Let's see if it's back up again. Nope. It says 500. That's an error. The server you encountered an error could not complete your request. No, like literally, Google is fucking down. That's a you problem and works fine for me. No, it's down for the United States of America, the only country that matters.
Explanation as to why they didn't just try to cooperate or get the president and his staff to cooperate and go through the boxes in a partnership in case maybe something inadvertently that was classified was put in those boxes? Because I'd bet a lot of money that Donald Trump did not pack his own boxes, Mike Emanuel.
Very scarce detail, Sean. Interesting points you are making there. What we know is they're thinking that some documents remained at Mar-a-Lago, but there are no indications that there was any kind of cooperation or outreach by the FBI to officials connected to the former president. And so we know the raid happened today. The former president was in New York City. He went back to Mar-a-Lago, is our understanding, and we will see where the facts lead us.
All right, Mike Emanuel, my source is telling me, and Eric Trump confirming tonight, that in fact they were working if there were any classified documents, to get them to its proper place. All right, now former President Trump was at his home in New York City with his son Eric earlier today. When he learned of the raid, he released his statement. He was later...
This is precisely my thinking as well. If a president can unilaterally declassify anything without any process needed, which is the law, couldn't the president just say, I declassify this and walk with it? I think there are a lot of crimes you could lock Trump up for, but classified documents, that sets a precedent that could lock up most former senior White House aides. This is why I suspect the raid was actually about more than just the boxes, though related to the boxes. That's the suspicious part. Either the federal authorities are behaving in the most libbed up, awful way possible, and they're hitting the fucking Jim Comey style massive fuck up, okay? And you know, basically offering the fattest of fucking dubs to Donald Trump. Or there is something more to it that pertains to the information in those boxes that possibly has something to do with the January 6th committee. Because remember, they mentioned that Trump was under investigation last week. They wouldn't have done it without evidence? Exactly, that too.
A White House, it's probably chaotic.
My God.
Did you happen to witness at any point Donald Trump himself packing any boxes?
No, I didn't. You know, I wasn't involved in that process. As Eric Trump.
Sean Hannity's like, Kaylee, could you also say that you facilitated in a crime towards the microphone, please? Hey, you know how there's an FBI raid going on? Kaylee McEnany, could you say that you personally were involved in said crimes?
Day for Justice, which is supposed to be blind but looks overtly political here. You know, the Presidential Records Act, as Jonathan Turley noted, is not used criminally. We haven't seen this. But look back in time at what the FBI and the DOJ did, let's say with Paul Manafort, where Foreign Agent Registration Act was only used 7 times in 50 years until, oh wait, Paul Manafort, former Donald J. Trump campaign manager, comes along and his associate Robert Gates. Then it's used aggressively. The Logan Act, I talked about this all the time from the podium about Michael Flynn. That this was a never before used act, never used to successfully prosecute anyone, but used as a pretext by the FBI to come in and entrap Michael Flynn right there in the West Wing, right near where my office was several years years later. This is very scary. There's a trend. Never before used statutes used in a fashion to go after who? Political enemies, Donald Trump's national security advisor, Donald Trump's campaign manager, and then the president, former president of the United States himself. Wow. They say banana republic. I think it's an understatement because it really feels like we are there and beyond.
It seems like that to me. Governor, I want to get your take on this, but through the prism of this. In 2016,
They caught
we had
someone
Hillary's dirty
leaving with
dossier.
documents
we know
at the
it
raid.
was all full of lies. It's been totally debunked. It led to 4 FISA warrants that ruined Carter Page's life, and it was a...
Okay, this is starting to get fucking boring. I need to know something new to come out. Also, here's something new for you guys. Okay? Here's something new for you guys. The latest episode of Fear and is out. Okay? Latest episode of Fear and is out with Ludwig and my co-host Austin. We had to replace Will with Austin, so we were more gay-friendly on this episode. I want you guys to go and watch that, obviously.
I'm in the process of having Hasan convince me to post some other naughty photos, but they're a little too naughty and risky.
But just like we don't have to do a hostage negotiation every time you like want to post a photo.
Well, no, let's
he
dig
has
into
seen
this.
most of my cock.
This is a different conversation, so we're going to loop back.
No,
for a moment.
it's relevant to the photo.
Okay.
You want to see it?
I wouldn't mind. Live reaction to Austin's cock.
Yeah. Well, it's not like my actual cock, but like there's definitely cock in there. I'm in the...
Yeah. Bring back Will Neff now. I mean, it's not my fault. Motherfucker's busy all the goddamn time. Such a funny defense. The president has never been charged with murder before, but just because the president kills a man, suddenly they want to do it. Yeah. Live cock reaction, and there's so much more on that. This is a good teaser. Good. But yeah, ending homophobia with Hasan, Ludwig, and Austin. Fox News seems like they prepare for this, like the BBC has the plan for when the Queen dies. No, this is like, I've never heard so many people say this is third world banana republic shit. I've never heard so many people say this is third world banana republic shit over and over again. Hillary Clinton, Hunter Biden, third world banana republic. They literally had so many different fucking guests on to say the exact same thing, which is wild. Especially because they didn't have this guest on. This brave patriot. That's right, folks. I'm hearing from people on the ground that Hank Pecker has infiltrated Mar-a-Lago, famous American domestic terrorist, right-wing lover, patriotic man, has infiltrated the Mar-a-Lago compound. He's locked himself into the room with the safe, got a bunch of weapons, and he's saying that he's going to be holding it down for Donald Trump. He's heavily armed. My sources are telling me that Hank Pecker, who claims to be a brave American patriot, linked back to another patriotic Trump supporter, Alex Jones, is in the building, heavily armed, fortified behind the Trump safety room with the safe in it, inside of Mar-a-Lago. Holding it down, folks. He's holding it down. This whole raid was staged to hype up the August 21st Hank Pecker stream. I knew it. Yep. Okay, let's get back to fucking libtard gloating for a second.
Seeing new one-a-day.
Okay, never mind. They got ads on right now.
Of Congress by the GOP is going to save this country.
I am betting they will have a flimsy argument by tomorrow, and they're probably trying to craft a...
Dog, what do you mean? They got a fucking federal warrant. Like, what are you talking about? A flimsy argument? You can't just, like, pull off a federal warrant inside of a fucking safe for an ex-president. Like, these guys live in a world of their own concoction to a degree where they literally think some fucking lib judge is going to actually operate as an activist judge. You know what I mean? Like, sure, there are liberal judges, right? But, I mean, I don't know. I just, like, facilitating that facilitating that would be ridiculous. It would be fucking suicide. It would be gift wrapping another dub for the fucking midterms and possibly the election as well to Donald Trump. They would never let that go. Oh my God, this is the live view of Mar-a-Lago after Trump said FBI agents raided his Florida home. The hogs are already out there. How does having all this content the same day you'll do the Hank Pecker? I mean, I said I was going to do Hank Pecker on August 21st. A holy day on this broadcast.
I know. That's the same thing I told my husband too. He's like, just be safe. Just be safe.
Like,
Thank you.
here's the thing. How do you think she's taking it?
Yo, I'm about to have a panic attack.
Probably real pissed off right now. This is what all the haters think your house is like. Who's to say my house isn't like that, though? The right acts like they haven't ruined thousands of lives themselves with the women's right stance. What? Being a hog looks so fun, thinking you're saving dear leader by marching around with flags and other Q wine moms. Yeah, no, literally. They are, though. They are saving him. They're saving the country. They're preserving the constitutional republic, dude. Whenever I watch stuff like this, I'm reminded once again that America simply does not have walkable cities, okay? Just look, not a single fucking inch of sidewalk on there. People are forced to literally walk on the street. How fucked up is that? We have no public transit. We have no social safety nets, and we certainly do not have walkable cities. How fucking messed up is that? If you want to get a bunch of your wine moms together and wear comically large hats and all your goofy ass fucking Trump merch, and then you go around and you know, save Donald Trump. If you want to go and save Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, you can't even do it without being constantly fearful that you might get killed by a fucking pickup truck. It's like being at the top of the hour and being fearful that the ad break is coming, and knowing full well that the ad break actually is coming, and not being prepared for said ad break, like by subscribing for $5 or for free. With a Twitch Prime, that is. Because if you want an ad-free broadcasting experience, that's all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free, or get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Okay? T-Rex, thank you for the 10 gifted subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour ad break. The ad break is coming now. I ain't money man, money bags, my guy. Money guy. Ray Donnell, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
President Trump is investigated because they're scared that he's running, and he will win again. And the Democrats they're desperate at this point, and they will do anything to stop our president from running again, which they will not succeed.
What do you think will happen tonight?
I hope a lot of Democrats will wake up and see that this is unheard of, this is unprecedented, it never has happened before, and it needs to stop. The corruption has to stop, the weaponization of the FBI has to stop.
Comrade Caitlin, thank you for the 5 tier and give this sub.
Wake up and see that this is wrong. It has never.
Man, Trump's most loyal fucking fan base always has like fresh off the boat ass motherfuckers, like from the weirdest places too. You'll have like Dutch Trump supporters and like German Trump supporters and shit. It's so weird. Like, I get why fucking the Latino population has like a severe QAnon problem, especially in fucking Florida, where you got like the Cuba QAnon Andes, right?
Thank you.
It's like, where the fuck did she come from?
You hit stop?
I think so.
Also, another really funny part is that like they look like goofballs, and they know they look like goofballs, and it's like they think they're making a serious point about like defending the Constitution or whatever, while they simultaneously look like fucking goofballs. Like no one with a comical hat like that is genuinely doing something good. Okay, like you're just a fan. Like you're like sports fans. When they dress up like that, they're having fun. Okay, they're not there to like literally save the Republic or anything. By the way, Preposterous Panda, thank you for the 5 gifted, and Comrade Caitlin, thank you for the 5 gifted. It's just like, I don't know. Bruh, COVID didn't do his job. Why the fuck are there still people like this out there? Dude, it didn't kill everybody. You know what I mean?
The only people that are... Listen to me. All pedophiles. Whoever don't like Trump is a pedophile. Believe me.
Hey! We got a fucking based Italian.
Nah, there's no side of my story. Self-explanatory. Okay. Never happened to a sitting president yet. Okay.
He fucking destroyed him in the marketplace of ideas over here. Hey!
You want to live off of us? Free money, free housing. Listen, free checks. Let us please let the working man pay for you. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Work for a fucking living. Let's see what the fuck it is. Work for a living, having sex with monkey pops.
Oh my God, what a king. What a king. He said, I'm walking here. Get the fuck out of here.
Ay, mija, no me ve, te voy a dar a la cabeza. No importa, pégame en la Ay, no, a mí no me gusta. A mí no me gusta hablar. No.
What is this?
A mí no me gusta hablar.
Jorge Masvidal? Who the fuck is this guy? He's Cuban American? Oh, God. Yo, what is up with fucking Cuban Americans over the age of 30, brother? Like, I feel like no matter what happens, like their brains break or some shit. Sad day in the USA today. These are the tactics of Cuba and Venezuela. Cuba and Venezuela. No matter what side of the aisle you are on, this ain't right. Hashtag love USA. What the fuck? Hey, why am I catching strays here? Bro, I don't know what the fuck it is, but I guess it's just they just like stayed in... America does something. Why would Cuba do this? Yeah, that is pretty funny. But I mean, this is the same as like whenever America does something, people are like, wow, this is just like the Taliban. Wow, Islamic fundamentalism has arrived at America. It's like, no, bitch, this is Christian fundamentalism. This is America shit. Also, secondly, yeah, what the fuck is going on here? You're upset that like a former president is like actually being held accountable for once? That's crazy. Imagine Barack Obama doing this to fucking George W. Bush, and then Donald Trump doing this to Barack Obama. That would have been fire. And then Joe Brandon did it to Donald Trump. I, for one, am a fan of this, okay? Investigate and prosecute all prior presidents. Straight up. This opens up a lot of doors for prosecution. Yeah, see if I care. Oh, no. Oh, no, that's crazy. Problem is, Trump would have prosecuted Obama for being a Muslim from Kenya and not bailing out the bankers. True. And then when he found out that there was no proof for it, he'd be like, well, it's good that I prosecuted. Had to investigate him. Also, he's still gay. I know it. You know it. We all know it. They should storm Mar-a-Lago and stop the raid. Content would be crazy. I think it's over. Like, or I guess they're still going. Dude, this is awesome. Like, I know this is like kind of a right-wing take, but like these motherfuckers are so jobless, bro. Why is it that people constantly complain like nobody wants to work anymore? It's like, what are these guys doing? It's a Monday night. They got no fucking jobs. They got no jobs. They're all fucking small business owners who don't have to fucking work early in the morning, okay? They're all motherfucking small business tyrants. There's a lot of HVAC repairs that aren't going to happen tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. God, Florida is such a fucking weird state, dude. I am fully on board.
This is the worst attack on this republic in modern history. Period.
Mark Levin, what a cuck. Is this live Hogwatch? What's happening? Yes. Look at how ugly their fucking cars are. Ugh. Thank you, Hippie Matt, for the 550 subs. Yeah, boss, I'm gonna have to call in sick today. I had a late one last night defending the fucking country from a tyrannical government. Yeah, no, none of these guys have bosses. These guys are the bosses, brother. You have to understand. These guys are 100% like small business owners, independent contractors, people who own their own fucking HVAC business. Every single one of these are petty bourgeois dickheads who don't even make that much money and don't even, probably some of them have employees that they fucking abuse aggressively, and most of them don't even have that, and they treat every fucking waiter like a slave, or every Uber Eats driver like their own personal slave that they can abuse for the brief moment of interaction that they have with them. These are those guys, okay? Nobody wants to work anymore. Trump is doing a tele-rally for Palin right now. Another day in paradise. This was a strange day, Trump said. God, this is like so weird. I mean, this is straight up a fucking cult. It's such a it's a cult. It's like kind of interesting and fascinating to watch, but it's also the wackest. Oh my God. Yeah, play some top 40. It's kind of wild that they have so much free time But it's also kind of wild that they can always turn in like every political action into a rally. Like everything turns into a tailgate for these fucking guys, you know? It's a good way. It's a fun way to live.
Stop at nothing, and
He told them to be peaceful.
I hate to interrupt you, sir. You're absolutely right. And your former police commissioner, he said their next move will be assassination if they don't take him down after this. He posted that to Twitter, Bernie Carrick. Mr. Mayor, so great to have you with us this evening. We do have...
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, dude. Newsmax is on fire.
Leave it there and move on. We thank you.
We'll just cover it up.
All right. Thank you, Sir Rudy Giuliani. They will stop...
Oh, my God. That's awesome. Oh, Big Hat Lady is back.
We will not allow you guys to talk trash about our president in not a second. It's enough. Enough of these liars is what you guys are. You are responsible for the demise of America, for reporting fake news. Sick of it. Sick of these lies.
Like, how can you take yourself seriously wearing that fucking hat? Like, you are doing the demise of America. You look at your hat, dumbass. What do you mean? Like, you can't be serious right now. What the fuck? You can't wear a comically sized hat and try to make serious statements about the fall of the American empire.
What do you want to know? We're from Reuters. Oh, cool. Just tell us why you came out. Because I'm fed up with all the fake news people, in particular CNN. And all the 99.9% of the TV people are against Trump. Is that for me to hold?
Yeah, no, that's just just to.
And all the all the media are against Trump, and I'm fed up with it.
Can you give me your name?
Jim Whalen, West Palm Beach.
Whalen, W-H-E.
W-H-E-L-A-N.
Your age?
59.
59. And what do you do for a living?
I'm an advertising guy.
Advertising. And did you come out tonight after the news happened?
Yeah.
And what do you think of what's happening now?
I think it's great that the people are here. I think it's great that the people are standing in the background of all the TV people, showing them how they feel. I think it's great that the public is showing their support in a public place, and nobody's invading anybody's space, which is important.
And what do you think of this? I think there's a raid on the Mar-a-Lago residence.
I'm just like, everything I say will be ableist, okay? Like, I'm sorry. Everything I say, with respect to what this guy is saying, will be ableist, so I'm just not going to say anything.
And same with the January 6th. Trump didn't do anything wrong with January 6th because he ordered the National Guard, Nancy Pelosi denied it. And there's a guy on Newsmax that spoke about that he was there in the room with Trump. That's where I get that information from.
Great. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for... Good night, sir. She's great at changing Kamala Harris is great at changing Joe Biden's diapers. And she spanks him for being bad and then puts a nipple back in his mouth after she cleans him up.
Oh, you fucking got him, ad man. Bro, this is the Don Draper of this generation. Why aren't people... I bet this guy's marketing agency pops off, dude.
Everybody else.
We like to think so.
Yeah.
That's why I like working for them.
Yeah, I appreciate what you guys do.
Born to ride. Donald J. Trump, baby. Celebrating the raid? I'm celebrating it, but they're not. They're upset. They look jovial because they like being around other like-minded people with the same kind of like intellectual disabilities that they have. So like they get together and they're like, oh, this is sick. Like a gathering of like-minded hogs, right? But that's the reason why they're jovial. They're also happy because they don't really know what's going on. You know what I mean? So they're just kind of tailgating, you know? They're like, oh, I don't know what's happening. But it's cool. A gathering of the Magalos, like the Juggalos. Oh, that's great.
Ryan Seacrest. Stream it free on the CW app and CWTV.com, and keep listening for the next chance to win your way to our iHeartRadio Music Festival and $1,000 spending cash. See you there.
Brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch to the network with more 5G bars in more places so you can experience your music.
What? What? I don't know if Spectator Index is legit. What the fuck? Reports of explosion to Google data center in Iowa? What? That's why the Googling went down? That's why Google went down? Three people in critical condition after Google data center electrical incident. 3 electricians were critically injured and transported to a local hospital after an electrical incident at a Google data center in Council Bluffs, Iowa. According to the Council Bluffs Police Department and Google, the incident occurred at 11:59 a.m. local time on Monday, the Council Bluffs Police Department told SF Gate. 3 electricians were working. 1 person was taken by helicopter to the Nebraska Medical Center, while 2 or more were transported by ambulance. Google spokesperson Devon Smiley. Okay, that's not real. You have a PR person whose last name is Smiley? Really? Come on. Stop it. Sent the following statement to SF Gate. We are aware of an electrical incident that took place at Google's data center in Council Bluffs, Iowa, injuring 3 people on site who are now being treated. The health and safety of our workers is our absolute top priority, and we are working closely with partners and local authorities to thoroughly investigate the situation and provide assistance as needed. Okay. All right, wait, let's get back to the hogs.
They're dirty people. The socialists, they're just horrible people. They have the devil in them, and they're all going to burn in hell one day.
Yeah, she's right. Facts, mama. Slay, mama. Slay, big slay. Big slay, mama. Y'all are just mad. She's spitting the truth.
If you don't trust any politicians, where are the signs?
You don't want any cameras. Because I'm not protesting politics. We all appreciate that you're there for him.
Wait, is he wearing a fuck Trump suit? What the fuck? My mom said Obama and the Democrats executed Trump last February, and the man they're searching is a body clone. Love that. Man, Reuters is popping off big time. Bro, we should go to this and I'll be your cameraman. Brother, I'm in Los Angeles, unfortunately. God, I missed this. You don't get this kind of brain rot from the left? No, that's the problem. The left don't know how to fuck you. Are you serious? Dude. These people are not going to be another one of the 700 already this year because they're not Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt was a patriot. Start your own rally in LA. Sometimes I do, like, because they have so much fucking fun. Sometimes I'm just like, maybe. This is madness, is Jason Miller. Wayne Root, this is now officially Nazi Germany, Gestapo meets Soviet Union KGB, but it will backfire spectacularly. The federal security state has declared war on Donald J. Trump and his supporters. Laura Loomer, the FBI just stormed Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach. We live in a police state. The FBI is the personal Gestapo hit. Oh, there's another live from
Talking to
Mar-a-Lago.
me as I don't like Trump. Yeah, and that's all I'm out here for.
That's how you feel, then God bless.
Because guess what? Politics gonna do this the rest of our life. This ain't gonna change. Matter of fact, it might get worse.
Remember what I told you guys about like stalkers? Like, you know, I have some stalkers, and now the only way to defeat stalkers is like counter stalkers. I feel like the only way to defeat brain diseased hogs is by having like the left equivalent of a brain diseased hog. This is like a white hat hog. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is just as insane as everyone else there, but basically on the other side of the political spectrum, which I'm fully on board. You know, he's got like a weird ass outfit on. You gotta admit though, if it says something different, it'd be pretty drippy. I mean, probably not. Just make them uncomfortable and uneasy and make them fold. It's funny because like he's wearing camouflage, right? So if he wasn't wearing a shirt that said like fuck Trump or whatever, I feel as though because of his outfit being so outlandish and so ridiculous, I think the other insane people see him and approach him positively because he's like, oh, this is one of our own. This must be one of our own. Only we dress like this.
We have nice conversations. It's some nice people in this world, both sides. And that's why I say, man, you having this good conversation. I got total respect. You say I ain't talking to you crazy or saying nothing. I ain't even showing my signs. I'm talking to you like a nice person. And
This is your right.
Yeah.
And that's it. But you want to know the sad thing today? That if I had signs like that about Biden, the FBI would probably come.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. But when Trump was president, I had it. I used to go to Washington, D.C.
Trump was a different president.
Guess what? I done been here. I done been to his house probably more than some people that live in this area.
Really likes something.
Guess what?
Chat, we need to hear the audio that's not out of a tin can, man. I'm sorry. Like, this guy's really interesting, but like this is like impossible. I feel like it's like a dog whistle. It's like penetrating my brain, you know?
If y'all come play for his football team, he never gave them the money. It's sad. Yeah, the New Jersey Generals. The New Jersey Generals, they folded in the first year. I love this.
And you, God bless you, do your thing.
What's your name?
Terry.
Rich. What's wrong with you?
Bro, this is the worst. Like, I'll just say it like this. I don't even understand how the audio is so bad. Like, I literally don't understand. I didn't realize that, like, any phone that is still in operation in 2022 could possibly have audio this bad. Like, genuinely shocking to me.
More to show more of the crowds here. More cars showing up with support.
Want more news? This stream is giving me Havana syndrome. Reuters' stream is back up. Let's fucking go, dude. Wait, does anyone have the link to the Reuters stream again? No, that's the old one. When I'm fucked up, that's the old me. Yeah, no, it's the old one. Chat, the Reuters is the old one. You're linking me the old one. It's done. This ended. See? Look. This is exactly where the live stream ended. Close the tab or 3, my dude? No. See what the fuck Fox News is up to.
Madam Attorney General, when did you learn of this?
I learned of it when the rest of the public learned about it, Laura, and it is an unprecedented move. I think so many of us
Laura,
have
give us something
watched
good.
as the credibility
Give us something
of
good,
our
Laura.
FBI has been chipped away at over the years. We're just waiting for this institution to be rebuilt into that institution of respect and independence and faith. And today is a very shocking day, not just for me, but for many Floridians and Americans.
Well, people are gathering outside of Mar-a-Lago in support of President Trump. This never happened in the history of the Republic. We have never arrived at this point where a succeeding administration has sought to criminally investigate a previous administration of a president who's probably going to run
Okay,
for...
so this is significant, actually. So this is the Florida Attorney General, and this is Ron DeSantis' Attorney General, and basically she's saying that like she was not informed of the raid prior, so that Ron DeSantis can cover his ass and basically claim that he had no involvement in this process. Okay. Once again, stealing your thunder, swear to God. Was raided? What? No, I told him to make this. He probably already uploaded this to TikTok.
Trump said tonight his Mar-a-Lago home is under siege by...
I suspect he's already uploaded this to TikTok, and then he posted it on his own Twitter. Let me see. Okay, he hasn't uploaded on the TikTok yet, but he will. Uploading right now. See? Told you. This is chat. We're moving. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Okay, I'm not even gonna watch this yet until it's uploaded to TikTok. I want to watch it on TikTok. Bro, we get a different shirt, same shirt every day. What?
And I think for the integrity of this institution, there needs to be immediate transparency.
Yeah, well, considering it, they're supposedly so worried about threats to democracy, they want to short-circuit democracy by taking someone off the field. That's it. To just people watching this tonight, that's what it looks like. So while they grandstand about democracy and preserving democracy, what's this? This is not what we expect from the United States of America. But your boss, Governor DeSantis, sent out this tweet writing, "The raid of Mar-a-Lago is another escalation of the weaponization of federal agencies against the regime's political opponents. While people like Hunter Biden get treated with kid gloves, now the regime is getting another 87,000 IRS agents to wield against its adversaries. Banana Republic." Well, I think he captured that right. The next move is auditing of Americans who disagree. Final thoughts here.
Well, Governor DeSantis used to be a federal prosecutor as well. We share that in common. And you would expect there to be subpoenas if there was any suspect of classified
I love the idea that like Brandon's IRS is exclusively going to audit Republicans. Like that's what they think is happening.
Unusual. And I tell you what, the charges, if there are any, the allegations, this better be a rock solid case to wreck whatever respect there is right now for the FBI.
Well, I think people across this country are wanting full transparency, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Madam Attorney General, thank you. Now, the raid on Mar-a-Lago is the culmination of a years-long effort to target...
to be fair, that would be sick. Like, if they fucking literally use the IRS exclusively, like, if they weaponize the IRS exclusively against, like, right-wing business owners, that would be absolutely fucking fire. Okay? No meme, no joke. That would be fire. Completely. It would be the sickest thing. Why I think they should do it. I hope they do it.
Early morning raids or the shields and all that. Now, the latter was so over the top that agents swept into the house from the road and the water. Steve Bannon, of course, arrested on contempt charges. John Eastman and his cell phone taken by federal agents. And most recently, former justice official Jeffrey Clark was raided by the feds in his underwear. Here now to discuss all this, Lee Smith, author of The Plot Against the President, and Russ Vought, president of the Center for Renewing America. Lee, you wrote an entire book about this, but does this shock even you at this point?
Yeah,
IRS is coming after anyone who ain't gay.
that this is the way they had to go. They were unhappy. They were never able to. This is the point of the Mueller prosecution, and so they feel that they have outstanding debt with President Donald Trump, and so they were going to have to go after him. By the way, I think that what they were probably looking for, what they probably are looking for, is January 6th related material. I know how it's being described, but I believe the real place.
Today's been one of the most fun news days in a long time, but you know what's going to be more fun? Tomorrow and the days following this? Yes. Especially when they like get better talking points and stuff, and then like the hogs start getting really riled up, dude. That will be sick. God, I love content so much. I mean, look, the inevitable decline of the American empire was happening no matter what. At least it's happening in like a fun way. You know what I mean? In a way that is very watchable. I'm in it. I'm in it for the content, baby. Tell people to follow the channel. Yeah, follow the channel, subscribe, ring the bell, do all of that.
Actually think.
And also follow my YouTube, obviously, for all the highlights.
But I think it's really important that, independents, Democrats, and hopefully some Republicans will look at the facts and see that this has been a slow road, but it's a road that will hopefully strengthen our American democracy, which has been very fragile these last few years in a post-Trump presidency.
Russ, for what they call a fragile democracy, raiding one of the homes of the former president and likely future opponent of this administration or this president, that's going to make things all hunky-dory?
Yeah, it's sad, Laura. The democracy is not in jeopardy. Their oligarchy is in jeopardy. And the reality is that they are tearing the Band-Aid off in a very distinct and clear way, and showing not just the American people that has known this for quite some time, as they've been called domestic terrorists for showing up at a school board meeting to protest what's going on.
Bro, they called themselves domestic terrorists. They quite literally at CPAC called themselves domestic terrorists. There was a sign that said, "We are all domestic terrorists." I don't understand why he's like, "Oh, they called us domestic terrorists." It's a motherfucker, you call yourself domestic terrorist.
To dismantle the FBI into 1,000 bits.
Yeah, Lee, over on MSNBC tonight, they were bemoaning this idea of Republicans after this raid saying they're going to really hold the FBI accountable. Like, can you believe they're saying they're going to defund these agencies and they're going to hold hearings? They're actually shocked that Republicans would wield the gavel in an effective way if they get power back in November. They're terrified of that.
Well, I mean, the important thing is that there are Republicans who are active, and hopefully they're gathering evidence now, and hopefully they've woken up to the different issues, because we saw, Laura, you covered this so well, but when Congressman Devin Nunes started on this, he didn't have a lot of support. So what we'd like to see right now is Republicans all on board realize what the issue is. It's a historic day insofar as Americans now understand what we are up against. Our children, our children's children will be looking to how we respond. This is how we are tested. They see it as a campaign of desecration and demoralization that started with Russiagate. It went through Kavanaugh, it went through impeachment, it went through the COVID lockdowns, it went through George Floyd. It's a campaign of demoralization.
Man, it's so crazy. Republicans have been through so much, like the murder of George Floyd.
Is how we respond to this. That's what will be looked at in the future, because as you said, it's not just about Donald J. Trump. It's about the American public too. It's about the oligarchy, the regime saying, you don't have a choice. You can't do anything about it. We govern your lives. We fill every part of you. That's why we really are a totalitarian regime. We can shape your children's gender. We can do whatever we want. So it's time for all of us, not just Republicans on the Hill. As Russ is always talking about, it's up to the American people to lead. Let in some ways the Republican officials follow our lead.
Yeah, Russ, this is an intimidation campaign, a vendetta. But I think it's wrong to look at this just as focused on Trump. Trump was the vessel, was the individual who finally pulled back the curtain on the corrupt bipartisan establishment that had driven our middle class into the ground. And they want to take our children from us as well. They want it. He's exactly right what Lee said. The propagandizing against our country that's happening in government schools is part of this whole thing. And Trump was taking it all on. And if he had a second term, he would have really done some damage to what they had done. They're afraid of him coming back. I think this is a clear sign. They know he'll probably be successful in running for president again. I think if they weren't threatened by him, why would they do this? They're clearly threatened by him as a political force.
They wouldn't. And I love talking to people that think that somehow Donald Trump running for president is not going to be a successful political campaign. The left doesn't think that. The left is pulling out every stop because they know that they have no more options when it comes to winning policy debates. All they can do is brute force, and they can only do that if they can spook the Republican Party and somehow being fearful. And now is the time to stand forward and be courageous and say, look, we're not backing down. The American people showing up didn't back down when they're trying to protest against critical race theory. We're not backing down in the same way that President Trump has not backed down. That's what's called for in this moment.
Everybody knows the FBI is leftist. After all, they infiltrated all the leftist groups. And they did that because they were already a part of it, because they were aligned ideologically with all the leftist groups that they infiltrated and tried to subvert.
They came out and they voted for that stupid infrastructure bill, saying that was going to stop the.
Why would you get mad? What the fuck? Why?
I thought we were going to do that tonight. We'll do it tomorrow. But these are the brainiacs that allowed this to happen to the American people. I know they've done some good things on the courts and stuff, and they're not all bad, but.
I fucking hate the woke FBI, man.
For the people of this country, they've been woefully inadequate.
She said these dumbass bridges that they want to fund, like you need a fucking bridge. Get out of here.
People step into the breach because they're obviously not up to it, or they don't want to do it. I don't know which, but they're not interested in taking up the populist fight for the people of this country. They're just not interested.
No, you're absolutely right. I think it's possible to bracket some of the political stuff, the stuff that gets us frustrated and angry. But just realize that we live in a meaningful time. We're getting to fight for our country now. The American people, we've woken up. We understand what's happening. And God willing, our political officials will follow our lead. As Russ has spoken about so well, I love hearing Russ talk about it, how courage is contagious.
Yeah, and when we say fight, we obviously say use every legal means and constitutional means at our disposal, and that means we got to win. We got to win big. Russ,
I broke in.
The IRS now is going to be a part of the new Democrat Party, militia, economic, financial militia against regular people. And yet the senators are coming out today, the Democrats saying, "Oh no, don't worry, this is all going to be, to help the people." Watch.
Millions of Americans aren't going to be impacted by that other than getting better service from the IRS, having their telephone answered, getting the questions they need in order to comply with our tax laws. The auditing is going to be focused on those of high income, the large corporations, et cetera. So there's no reason to be fearful. And if you have paid your taxes and if you comply with our laws, you should want to make sure everyone else does that.
Russ. Don't worry, be happy that we have a new, squadron of IRS agents, almost 90,000.
Yeah, they've never faced an audit.
Bro, they're gonna cause some fucking right-wing nut job to go kill an IRS agent or some shit at this point. You know what I mean? What the fuck does this have to do with the IRS, brother? They're still tying it back to shitting on the IRS.
Businesses, they're now going to have to be justified to the regime, the same regime that is raiding on a former president representing 75 million Americans. They're going to have to justify and prove their innocence to IRS agents that have all the resources in the world. And that's the reality of what these members are voting on when they come back in town Thursday and Friday to vote on the Senate's package.
Yeah, they are aligning against the people who pay their salaries, the people they're supposed to be working for. They're working against Lee.
Oh my God, I thought those two were the same guy. Oh my God. What the fuck? Laura Ingraham finding two of the same guy.
To breaking the law. That way they can crack down on everyone who disagrees
That's crazy.
with them. Remember, they think that all pro-Trump Republicans are the new fascists, as that warmonger Max Boot wrote in the Washington Post over the weekend. But all of us, we can be righteously indignant, we can be angry and furious even, but we got to demand our legal rights.
Bro, we haven't stopped watching Fox News. When the fuck
The
did Jim
Senate-
Jordan go on?
What needs to happen. But even before that, this Friday, we're going back to vote on this stupid bill that the Democrats passed out of the Senate yesterday. So we will be there all day Friday. I'll be in Thursday night. Merrick Garland, Chris Wray.
What the fuck are you going to do about it, Jim? Huh? What? Look the other way when rapes happen under your watchful eye again? What are you going to do? Oh, I'm so mad. Oh, what will I do? What I know how to do best, which is what? Overlook rape happening under your reign? Is that what you're going to do again? What can he do? Oh, we got a stupid bill coming in. Suck me.
Come to the House Judiciary Committee this Friday and answer our questions about this action today, which has never happened in American history. What was on the warrant? What were you really doing? What were you looking for? Why not talk to President Trump and have him give the information you're after? This is unbelievable. And understand the history here. 1 year ago, it was the Merrick Garland using the Patriot Act against parents.
I don't think that, I don't think they could do anything about it. I'm going to be honest. I don't think that I don't think the Civil War narrative is overblown, but maybe I'm wrong. You know, sometimes I don't get things right, but I don't think these fucking diabetic hogs are going to do anything other than get together and do tailgates and shit. Someone has to direct them. And if that someone is Donald Trump and he has no way of communicating with them, unless someone steps up to the mantle and is guiding them in a similar capacity like January 6th, good luck. You literally look like a diabetic hog? Me? That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Dude, you're right. So right. Listen, these are the same people who think Donald Trump is hot, okay?
1 day ago, it was 87,000 agents in a bill the Democrats passed to go harass Americans from the IRS. And today, we have the raid of a former president's home in America. So heck, we deserve answers now, and this Friday would be a good time. Jerry Nadler, call up Christopher Wray, call up Merrick Garland, bring him in front of the House Judiciary Committee so we can ask him the questions that the American people deserve answers to. What needs to happen, but even before that, this Friday, we're going back to vote on this stupid bill that the Democrats...
They're so mad they got to do work. Trump supporters are really excited about the idea of a civil war. Some of the responses to today's FBI raid: I already bought my ammo. Civil war, pack up arms, people. Civil War 2.0 just kicked off. Let's do the war. One step closer to a kinetic civil war. One step closer to a kinetic civil war, baby. Yeah, dude. Anyone that posts fucking burn notice memes on Twitter is not... They're dying, okay? Anyone that posts burn notice memes about how they're going to do the civil war is literally dying. In the funniest way possible. On the way out, they shoved their fucking Glock in their pants, okay? On their way out, while they're trying to rush down the stairs to get into their pickup truck to do the Civil War, they fall and shoot themselves directly in the cock, and then it's over. You know what I mean? They bleed out because they have no immediate family members or anyone that cares about them, and no life alert. So there's just no shot. Yeah, Civil War is happening. Yee, baby. Yeah, half of you motherfuckers are going to die. Go ahead. Even the strongest Hillary supporters wouldn't do this. Trump supporters are a different breed. Yeah, I mean, we already covered this. But yeah. I mean, it's pretty awesome. I love them. Honestly, keep up the good work. Trump has started fundraising off of this. Wait, I didn't get that message. What the fuck? Wait, I'm subscribed to his messages. Wait, I literally did not get this one. That's kind of fucked up. Last one I got was President Trump 5,000% more. As my top supporter, I've texted you 5,000% more than anyone else. Want to stay number one? Claim my number one text status. I didn't get this one, which is kind of a bummer, honestly. MX Murray, 88. Man, the FBI is going to pay for this raid, lol. Trump's going to come back with a vengeance. Oh, I want to know what this person by that. Please elaborate. Please explain, MX Murray, 88. What do you mean by vengeance? I cannot wait to see the fucking vengeance that Donald Trump brings back. Florida is the best place for Mar-a-Lago to exist, low-key, high-key. CNN's got. Bro, every fucking time I click on CNN, they have... Literally, they have a fucking ad. Crazy. Anyway, I'm really tired. And you know, I'll obviously keep up with whatever the fuck's going on with the Trump stuff, but I think I gotta go. I think I'm done. I'm clocking out. Sorry, boys, girls, MBs. You know, we've been doing the Trump pack watch all day, and my face is starting to get warm. But you know, I will be following this closely offline. And of course, we will be live early tomorrow. Did the TikTok get uploaded? Hold on. Before I leave, I'll look at the TikTok real quick. If it got uploaded already. It did. Let's go. Okay, here it is. My latest TikTok is up. Dude, Austin Ox is so fucking fast with it. So nice with it. Go juice this. Let's watch this. Mar-a-Lago was raided? What?
Donald Trump said tonight his Mar-a-Lago home is under siege by FBI.
Trump in statement says Mar-a-Lago's under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Wait, what?
Eric Trump spoke to our own Brian Kilmeade and told him as many as 30 agents raided the former president's Palm Beach home.
No way. What is happening?
Searching the premises of the president's residence is absolutely unprecedented.
You can't just literally open up a safe even during a regular raid. Not just on the premises, remember. Inside of his safe, okay? That's actually huge. This is a pretty fucking big deal. Yes, dude. Are you insane? Yes, chatter. When the former president is under federal investigation and then the FBI raids his home, yes, that is a pretty big fucking deal. Yes! Yes! Chopper footage!
We were told that the FBI wasn't going to get involved in any politically charged search warrants, investigations, announcements, indictments before an election. We were told that.
They're not supposed to do that to us. They gave us assurances. The White House did not get a heads up, by the way. The White House did not get a heads up.
Third world bullshit. I mean every word of that. I was a federal agent.
Give me more!
My right hand.
Give me
and
more!
I protect the United States. And I love this country.
I'm smoking on it.
This is a freaking disgrace. This is freaking embarrassing. I am begging you to vote in 2022.
They're like, please just vote. Vote harder. Mar-a-Lago was, bro, this is a fire one, dude. Holy shit. Okay, this one's great. It got busted. Mar-a-Lago. It popped off so hard it got busted a little bit raided during the process, but anyway, be sure to archive it, like it, subscribe to the TikTok, follow my TikTok. The lag is a usual glitch. Anyway, yeah, that's right. And also like, subscribe, follow the YouTube page. We reached 1 million. We reached 1 million fucking million subs on YouTube. Okay. And that's it. That's all I got. Here, I'll fucking do the outro music now. Good shit, Austin Ox. That's a fire. That's a banger. Can you upload the fish jam emote for us, please? Yes, I will upload the fish jam emote. Oh my god, please stop asking me that. I will do it, okay? I will do it when I get to it, when I remember. Only 8.5 hours? Yeah, man, I don't have the stamina that I used to back in the day. I'm no longer the savage I used to be, pulling fucking 16-hour streams. This old body can only do 8.5 hours, 9 hours.
Sunny Los Angeles, California, says Hasan. The starlock to the topic just begun.
Anyway, love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully with some more good news, just like this, okay? What a wonderful fucking day. We hit 1 million subs. Donald Trump got raided. I mean, gifts keep on coming. The biggest gift of all, having a wonderful community to get back to every day. All right? Good night.
Reviewing the P.O. box, Uncle Uger's face. Sudden discord at chip prop, great names take on breaks. Tiny Bernie Sanders, LGBTQ Air Force. The whole left at your fingertips, on at your door. The H3 crowded debate, the Young Turks online show. 3 full fucking years of this, plenty more to go. 90-day fiancé talks of champagne bourgeoisie. A Trump rally live reaction, a mass riot at DC. There he is again, Hasan is streaming. Hasan is streaming.